Lee-gung was a dominant college basketball star averaging 25 points per game, until one day his stubborn coach benched him during the championship finals for refusing to follow orders. After being kicked off the team and left with nothing but shattered dreams, little did Lee-gung know that he would soon find his true basketball family in the underground streetball scene at People's Park, where former professional players, part-time workers, and street legends would help him rediscover his father's most important lesson, that no matter what adversity you face, you should never give up on your basketball belief. However, before any of this, the city's hottest basketball game season is going on right now, which is the streetball arena competition, and after 3 weeks of fierce competition and intense matches between teams, the last game is going to happen in 2 days from now. At a house somewhere in the city, a girl asks a boy if he is going to find Jung and bring him back, but the guy grabs his basketball and tells her that he is going to practice instead of looking for him. She tries her best to stop him, saying that if he continues to be stubborn like this, then it is going to be over for the Ghost Knight team completely. She then starts crying with tears in her eyes and asks him how exactly they are going to play the game tomorrow with Jung missing from the team right now. This guy named Lee-gung's team has a female player on their roster, which is very surprising and unusual for most basketball fans who are watching the competition. Meanwhile, a fatty player is getting scolded very harshly by his dad for not paying enough attention in college and not focusing on his studies. He then tells him to get ready tomorrow because there is a job interview that he needs to attend. On the other hand, all the other players of Lee-gung's team are getting beaten up pretty badly by different people in different situations. The girl desperately tries to call Jung multiple times, but he is getting beaten up by some thugs on the street right now and cannot answer her calls. The team that has always been so passionate about basketball in the past has been completely falling apart right now, as each member of the team is facing their own personal problems and challenges in their lives. 3 months ago, Lee-gung is sitting at a basketball court and thinks about when he is a kid playing basketball with a bunch of street kids. He tries to throw the ball, but he can't get it into the hoop and he falls down on the ground. The kids shout at him and say he is crippled, and that is why he can't score any goal at all. Then Lee-gung's father comes to him and tells him that a person only understands being weak when he feels it himself, and that this feeling will make him want to become strong even more. So, his father says they will take off his braces, because he believes Lee-gung will one day run faster than everyone else. Lee-gung then spends his whole childhood training with his dad, and he tells him that he wants to become a professional player someday. In the present, the crowd starts cheering for Team Binhai, who is behind by 1 point, while Team Nanyang University is using a one-on-one tactic on the court. In the audience, the fatty whose real name is Kwon tells Tang that, based on his database checks, Lee-gung's accuracy and scoring rate in the last minute of a match is always the highest. Tang then asks him why the coach doesn't send Lee-gung in, and Kwon says that if he were the coach, he would have already done that, but Tang gets shocked and yells at him for saying that. Just then, an old man shows up in the crowd, asking the coach why Lee-gung is not playing now. Lee-gung is the main player of Binhai University team, who has not appeared for a second. Previously, he maintained a record of scoring 25 points per game, and in halftime, he crushed his opponents, advancing his team. 2 months before, after an elimination match ends, everyone discusses about how Lee-gung should be playing professional basketball now because his current college league is just like a girl's name and too easy for his skill level. The people even say that there is a conflict going on between the coach and Lee-gung right now, but it is also said by some that Lee-gung actually saved the coach's career in the past with his performance. They then hear a loud argument between Lee-gung and the coach coming from his office, where the coach is very furious at him for being stubborn and not listening to instructions. Then, the coach tells him directly that in the next game he is going to be a bench player and will not start. Back in the present time now, the coach decides to request a timeout during the important game, and everyone wonders if Lee-gung is finally going to play because there is not much time left on the clock. It turns out that the coach does not let Lee-gung play at all, which surprises everyone who is watching. The team manages to win the championship even without Lee-gung playing in the game at all. Later on, Kwon goes to his dad, who is the same coach of the team, and tells him that the last shot in the game should have been made by Lee-gung instead of someone else. He shows him a detailed chart of various statistics on Lee-gung from this entire season that he compiles and puts together himself. He adds more information by saying that Lee-gung's average is 25 points plus 10 rebounds per game this season, which is at the dominant level of the entire league compared to other players, and since the quarterfinals started, the 3-point shooting rate has been around 37% and the 2-point shooting rate has reached 65% accurately. After hearing all that information and data, his father gets very furious and angry, and he asks him if he sent him to college just to become a mindless worker like him who only cares about numbers. The father then kicks Kwon out of the room immediately, but Kwon tells his dad before leaving that he taught Lee-gung all by himself bit by bit over time. He says that Lee-gung once fought hard for the honor of the school in the past, and now the coach cannot just take this opportunity away from his life like this. The coach then says that as long as Lee-gung could apologize, he won't do anything. Meanwhile, Lee-gung is sitting alone at the basketball court by himself, where the other players think and believe that he is going to get expelled from the school team because of what happened. Igung then starts tearing up with tears coming down his face, but then Kwon shows up at the court and tries to take him away from there, but Igung refuses to go with him anywhere. Kwon tells him that he should apologize to his dad for what he did and then he can return to the team without any problems, but Igung just ignores him completely and does not respond at all, so Kwon tells him that if he gets delisted from the team right now, he is not going to be able to get a recommendation letter for his future career. After hearing this, Igung then agrees to go with Kwon finally, but then he goes straight to the basketball court where some other players are practicing their skills and playing games. Igung then tells them directly that they are not practicing enough or working hard, but everyone gets angry and frustrated, and they ask him why he even comes here to their court if he does not recognize their team as legitimate. Igung then steals the ball from another player who is dribbling it, and he quickly runs towards the basket and scores a goal easily without much effort. Igung then says to all of them that when he is sitting on the bench watching the game from the sidelines, he always has a question in his mind, which is that it has been 3 years now, so why are they all still so weak at basketball? After hearing those harsh words, everyone gets very furious and mad, and they try to hit him physically, but the other guy steps in and stops them from attacking Igung. Igung then says confidently that if they do not agree with what he is saying, then they should have a duel to settle this argument. Kwon then quickly texts Tang on his phone to come to the basketball court right away because something is happening. The match then begins with Igung and Lei going against each other one-on-one in a direct competition, and Lei quickly steals the ball away and goes for the basket to score, but Igung slaps the ball out of his hands before he can make the shot. The match then begins again with Igung throwing the ball from quite a far distance away from where he is standing, and he quickly runs towards it with speed that surprises Lei completely. Igung then manages to throw the ball into the court successfully and scores the point on his side of the scoreboard. The match then continues with Igung having the ball in his possession once again, and he quickly shows off his left and right movement techniques with impressive footwork and skill. Igung then throws the ball to the other side of the court and runs straight towards it with determination, but Lei does not give up on the play and starts running after Igung. Lei then ends up following, but his hand touches Igung's leg and both of them falls. Afterward, Tang quickly runs towards the basketball court to find Igung and Lei both falling down on the ground hard, as Igung's ball goes inside the basket successfully for a score. Just then at that moment, other players arrive at the scene and start shouting at Igung loudly, saying that he has been cheating during the match, but Lei tells them to stop right now and to not be impulsive or aggressive. Lei then tells Igung honestly that he lost his temper a moment ago during their competition, so he is sorry about that behavior and apologizes. Igung tells him in response that he does not have the ability or skill to replace him on the Iron Blood floor team, and he does not care about that at all anyway. After hearing those words, everyone gets surprised and shocked by what is happening, but then the coach shows up at the court and tells Igung directly that he does not need to stay on this team anymore since he looks down on his teammates so much and disrespects them. The coach then officially removes Igung from the team right there in front of everyone, and then Igung removes his jersey from his body and walks away from the court, but Tang stops him before he can leave completely. Tang asks him if he is really going to leave like that and end his entire basketball career over this situation, but Igung tears up and says that it is over for him now. Later that same evening, Igung calls his dad on the phone, but his father does not answer the call at all, so he just gets in his car and drives away. Later that night, Igung visits a bar where a baddie named Yen Xiao greets him when he walks in, and he asks her to give him a drink that contains in it. Igung then quickly drinks several drinks one after another, and while being drunk and losing control, he says out loud that he is the best player in the entire school. Yen Xiao asks him curiously if he plays basketball as a sport, but Igung just murmurs and says some words that are hard to understand. He says that playing basketball is a mistake that he made in his life, and he was born with hip deformities in his body, and when he was young he had to wear braces just to be able to walk properly. Igung then repeats again while drunk that he was born with hip deformities from birth, and when he was young and small he had to wear braces on his legs to walk around like other kids. He adds that dad taught him how to play basketball, and even at that time, he couldn't stand straight, but he always praised that he played better than others and he will be a basketball superstar in the future. Yen Xiao then asks him directly if he gives up on basketball completely, so Igung quickly says that he did give up and then leaves the bar without saying anything else. Outside the bar, Igung finds some thugs sitting on his scooter without permission, but one of them steals his basketball and tries to mess with him to provoke a reaction. The thug then takes out a cigarette and burns the ball with it to damage it, but Igung quickly kicks him in response to defend himself. Another guy then smashes a beer bottle at his head violently, but Igung hits him back with the basketball as hard as he can. The thugs then beat up Igung badly with his scooter's side mirror as a weapon and start laughing at him while he is on the ground hurt. Just then at that moment, a girl arrives on a bike suddenly and quickly takes Igung with her away from the dangerous situation. Afterward, the girl removes her helmet from her head, and she turns out to be the same bartender that Igung interacted with earlier at the bar. Igung then starts vomiting on the side of the road, which makes the girl think to herself that she must be that ugly that he had to vomit after seeing her face clearly. Then, both of them sit beside the road together to rest, and the girl asks him if a big young guy like him a bit of had just, so it is really necessary for him to get into a fight with those thugs. Igung says to her that he did not need anyone's help at all, but she gets mad and annoyed because she helped him escape from danger and now he is showing her a bad attitude for no good reason. Yen Xiao thinks to herself that Igung would rather die than forget his basketball and give it up completely from his life. She then grabs his phone from his pocket carefully and calls a person whose contact name is saved as Old Auntie, because she is thinking that it must be his mother. The person on the phone yells at her loudly that she is not an auntie at all, but Yen Xiao tells her quickly that there is someone who is sleeping on the side of the road right now and needs help. After a while of waiting, Tang arrives on her scooty to pick him up, so Yen Xiao tells her with amusement that Igung had saved her contact name under the name Old Auntie in his phone. Tang then quickly grabs Igung and takes him with her, but Yen Xiao notices that she is forgetting his basketball, so he gives her back. The next day, Tang arrives at Igung's home to check on him and see how he is doing, and she is wondering where he could possibly go today. She then gets the idea in her mind that he might have went to find that girl from last night who saved him, but it turns out that Igung is actually practicing his basketball skills on the ground at the court. He does various kinds of tricks and moves with the ball before throwing it in the basket successfully. Just then at that moment, Tang also arrives there at the court with a bunch of snacks in her hands and asks him if he is hungry right now. Igung then eats the snacks like a werewolf who has not eaten anything in ages and is starving. Tang then asks him if they are going to the movie theater today like they planned, but Igung says that he has no idea what she is talking about at all. However, Igung truly has no idea what she is talking about. So she reminds him clearly that he agreed to go with her last night when she took him home from the street. He then tells her to wait for him to practice the triple threat and tells her to help me look at it using a guide from Master Jordan. Igung then practices Master Jordan's most basic ability, but Tang just hits him and says that they should now go watch a movie. At the cinema, Igung wonders to himself if this is really a good movie to watch for their date, but then he notices a crowd cheering loudly for a guy who is throwing balls in the basket at an arcade machine game. Just then at that moment, Igung arrives at the machine and shows off his incredible skills that shock everyone who is standing there watching him play. After that, they both compete together at the same time and break the high score record at the exact same time, and everyone watching thinks that they both are skilled masters at the game. Just then suddenly, the other guy's girlfriend smacks him on the head and takes him away with her forcefully, but as he leaves the arcade, he tells Igung to find him at the People's Park because he wants to challenge him to something. Igung then spends the rest of the day with Tang as he promised her he would, and later that night when it gets dark, he goes to that park to meet the guy. At the park, bunch of players play basketball together while the crowd are still cheering for them. Igung thinks that the player who is trying to shoot the ball in the basket is not jumping well enough. Next, two twin brothers shows off their fancy moves that surprises Igung and he wonders if that guy is going to hurt himself playing basketball in that attire on. Igung then looks around the park for the guy that he met earlier at the cinema arcade, but then he decides to show everyone what real basketball skills look like instead. He quickly grabs the ball in his hands and jumps around to do some impressive dribbling moves with it. After seeing that display of skill, a boy compliments his dribbling technique and asks him if he is playing in a professional team somewhere. The boy then asks Igung if he has not heard that there is a special court in the People's Park that he cannot step on so casually without permission, so he suggests that Igung should go play somewhere else instead. Igung wears his headphones on his ears and ignores what the guy is trying to tell him completely. However, the guy then quickly steals the ball away from Igung during his dribbling, but then Igung tries to steal the ball back from him immediately. Igung fails to steal the ball back as the guy shows off his impressive moves and skills with the basketball. After seeing that display, the crowd thinks and discusses that the guy's name is Gu Shuai and he is the top point guard who plays in this park regularly. Gu Shuai tells Igung directly that this court is reserved for only the best players who have proven themselves, and it is a rule that has been passed down from the very start of the park's history. Just then at that moment, three massive guys enter the court together who are known by everyone as the Three Musketeers team. The main guy from the Musketeers tells Gu Shuai that he is back from abroad after a business trip and brought some gifts for everyone at the park. Moreover, he says confidently that Gu Shuai and Igung are going to go against the three of them in a match right now. Everyone in the crowd then starts cheering for Gu Shuai loudly with excitement, but then Igung tells them all that he is actually looking for a tall guy who has dreadlocks and dark skin tone, not this match. Hearing that, another guy says that Igung is talking about Zhong, who a workaholic is and must be working at KFC during this hour. The main guy from Three Musketeers says that he will find the guy Igung is looking and then they can start. After that moment, one of the players orders KFC food deliveries so that Zhong will come to court when he makes the delivery. A little later, Zhong arrives at the court with the food and asks who ordered the takeout from him. Another guy quickly tells him that it is a 3-on-3 match happening right now, so they were waiting for him to arrive, and he even tells him that there is a guy here who has been looking for him specifically. Zhong then quickly gets furious and looks at Igung and asks him who he is, because he has no time to play around with random people. Zhong then tries to leave the court immediately, but Wu tells his friend to give Zhong a 500 words bad review online if he does not play, so Zhong agrees to play the match and tells Igung to pass the ball to him during the game. After that decision, the match begins with Gushue showing off his amazing dribbling skills that even surprise Igung with how good they are. Gushue then quickly breaks through another player's defense easily, and just as he gets blocked by someone, he passes the ball to Zhong at the perfect moment. Zhong then quickly runs towards the basket with speed and throws the ball straight into the basket with a fadeaway shot that scores points. Zhong then tells Igung confidently that even without him on the team, Gushue and he can win this match easily by themselves. The match then continues with Zhong having the ball in his possession, and he quickly tries to pass it back to Gushue for another play, but Igung intercepts and steals the ball from them. After seeing that move, both of them get surprised and shocked, and they tell Igung not to get overconfident because they have got two people guarding him right now. However, Igung quickly dodges all of them with his movements and jumps straight towards the basket to throw the ball inside for a score. After seeing that incredible play, everyone in the crowd starts cheering for him loudly as they find it really dope and impressive. Igung manages to throw the ball into the basket successfully, which makes everyone watching realize and notice that his jumping ability is actually pretty good and impressive for someone like him. Gushue's team has now made and scored a total of 2 points on the board, but Wu's team has not scored any points yet at all during this game. On the other hand, some people in the crowd think and believe that Gushue is not even showing any respect or consideration for Wu, even though he used to be part of Wu's team in the past before. Wu then helps Fatty stand up from the ground, and Fatty tells Wu that now he will take care of all the rebounds from this point forward in the game. 5 years ago in the past, a guy wearing a black suit gave some cash and money to Fatty, saying to him that he knew his father was indeed in need of medical help and treatment, and money was not going to be any issue or problem for them at all. He explains that the only conditions are that they have to lose the game to the opposing team on purpose without trying. Hearing those words being spoken to him, Fatty quickly turns around and leaves the area immediately, but the guy says out loud that it is funny to see that he does not want the money that is being given to him for free. Fatty replies that he is short of money but not short on virtue, so he won't be match fixing any game. Fatty then opens the door to find Wu and Gushue waiting for him outside. After that, the match begins again, and the opposite team player tries to mess around with Fatty and bother him on purpose, which leads to Gushue getting extremely furious and angry at them for their behavior towards his teammate. The opposite team players then say out loud that they hired them from the streets just for some practice, and they really thought that they were here to play in an actual tournament competition with real teams. Hearing those insulting words being said, Gushue punches the player hard in the face, and then the entire basketball field turns into a complete boxing ring with everyone fighting each other violently, and the audience members throw empty trash and garbage onto the court in chaos. Back in the present time, Igung gets possession of the ball and he does not pass it to Zhong, who is standing there angry and upset about it not being passed to him. Igung tries to shoot the ball into the basket for a score, but it rebounds off the rim and goes directly to Fatty, who catches it. He then passes the ball back to Wu, who gives it to Ling, and it keeps on passing between players until the ball eventually gets back to Fatty once again. He then quickly jumps up high and scores the goal on his own without any help from anyone else. In a flashback, the three musketeers sits together and Wu tells them that with their strength, if they play a few exhibition games with a minor league team, the reward would be doubled. Gushue tells him that he will be emigrating soon, so he just want to relax and enjoy the fun, as making money through tournaments isn't suitable for someone old like him. Wu then asks the Fatty if he wants to join the game, but he also declines by saying that if Gushue is not there with them, then there is no meaning in playing at all. Wu then gets very furious at all of them and says loudly that they all need money badly, like how Fatty's dad needs $100,000 for a cardiac pacemaker surgery. He says that the opportunity is right in front of their eyes right now, but none of them seems to be interested in taking it seriously. Wu then asks the other two players what they would do if Gushue participates in the game, but then one guy says that if Gushue joins the team, they will join as well without hesitation. Wu then grabs Gushue's arms tightly and tells him that they are going to play one match right now, and if he loses this match, he is coming with Wu to the professional game. The match between them continues with both of them performing really well on the court, but Gushue ends up throwing the ball in the basket successfully for a score. Gushue asks him if the game with the professional team this weekend is that important to him, because based on what he said just now, he agrees with everything Igung mentioned, but the reality is that they all live on the outside of the professional court system. Gushue says that the reason everyone came to this court in the first place is to forget reality momentarily and just enjoy playing basketball. After hearing those words, Wu asks Gushue if he remembers the incident that happened with Fatty in the past, and he says that Fatty's physical abilities and skills are at the same level as professional players have. Wu then tells him that from that moment on, he decided to take their brothers out of this court permanently, so they can finally be respected for their plays and skills by others. After hearing that explanation, Gushue gives back the ball to Wu and says that if that is what has been decided, then they should start practicing right away. Back in the present, Zhong manages to get the ball in his hands, and he quickly runs around to score a point, but he gets blocked by the Fatty player. Zhong then gives the ball back to Igung and says that he can serve now and make a play. However, Igung just slaps the ball away, and it goes back to Gushue on the other side, and then Wu and Gushue come face to face with each other on the court. Gu Shuwei tells him that after that game in the past, he thought that he would never have the chance to play against him again, but Wu replies that he also cannot forget the important game that they lost because of Gu Shuwei's actions. In a flashback to the past, Wu and his team go to that tournament match where everyone is exhausted from playing hard, but Wu tells Ling that he will cover for him on defense and he will break through the opponents. Wu then tells Fatty that he will need to hold the fort under the hoop strongly and make the final shot when it comes. Lastly, he tells Gu Shuwei that he will be the last support player and needs to pass the ball to Fatty at the right moment. Wu then suggests that they still have some time left on the clock, so why do they not go for a 3-point tactic to win, but Ling says that their 3-pointer success rates are not that high to rely on. After that discussion, the match continues with Wu running towards the basket as the final countdown is happening on the game clock. Just then, another guy blocks Wu, so he passed the ball back to Gu Shuwei, who doesn't pass it back to Wu and jumps at the last second for the shot. Gu Shuwei then throws the ball towards the basket, but it doesn't go in and time runs out. After the match ends, Wu asks Gu Shuwei why he did not follow the plan as they agreed, so Gu Shuwei says that there are only two outcomes when it comes to shooting, which is to make it or not make it. Fatty and Ling also tell Gu Shuwei that they had a real chance to beat the professional team back then, but Gu Shuwei says that they did not have a chance, because they could not even lift their hands when they were panting heavily from exhaustion, let alone shoot the ball accurately. Gu Shuwei then says that when they entered overtime in that game, they not only would have lost, but they would have lost very ungracefully in front of everyone. After hearing that, Wu gets extremely furious and he punches Gu Shuwei hard in the face, asking him if he knows how much favor he had to go through with people to get them the opportunity to play this game against professional players. Gu Shuwei then asks him if this game was really that important to him, and he asks whether they started playing basketball because they genuinely liked it as a sport in the first place. Wu replies that it is easy for him to say that because their lives have been ugly and difficult for a long time, and even their only chance to change their destiny and future was ruined by Gu Shuwei's decision to quit. All three of them then start crying with tears in their eyes, and Wu tells Gu Shuwei to leave right now and go enjoy his comfortable life abroad in another country without them. Back in the present time, Gu Shuwei tells Yigang to strengthen their attacks on offense and pass the ball to Zhong more often, because this will create more opportunities for them outside the 3-point line. On the other hand, Wu tells Ling that Zhong knows his boundary lines very well, so Ling should stick to him closely on defense and give him constant pressure. Wu then says that their biggest advantage is the inner defense around the basket area. After that strategy talk, the match begins again, and Gu Shuwei quickly runs with the ball down the court, but then his knee starts hurting from an old injury, so Wu steals the ball from him while he is distracted. Wu then quickly slaps the ball away, which gets to Fatty on his team, and he tries to throw the ball in the basket, but it turns out to be a fake shot, and then when Yigang tries to steal the ball from him, Fatty just moves around him smoothly and throws the ball in the basket successfully. After seeing that play, everyone thinks that it is an amazing footwork display, and now it becomes a 3-on-2 match situation. Now, Team Wu is starting to counterattack with the ball, but then Zhong tries to steal the ball away from Wu while he dribbles, but Wu passes it to Fatty, who once again tries to throw the ball in the basket for a score, but Yigang tries to block his shot. Yigang ends up failing to block it successfully, and the ball goes straight in the basket for points. After seeing that result, Zhong tells Yigang that he has lost 2 scores for their team now, but Yigang replies that Zhong also let them slip by his guard on defense. Zhong becomes upset after hearing this comment, which causes him to start a heated argument with Yigang about the whole thing. Gu Shuwei tries to settle things down and make peace by explaining to Zhong that it is only a game and should not be taken so seriously or personally by anyone. The basketball match then continues with Fatty showing off his excellent footwork skills and amazing balance to Yigang once more, who is having a really difficult time and struggling quite a bit against Fatty's superior abilities on the court. But this time around, when Fatty jumps up into the air and tries to toss the basketball into the basket for a score, Yigang successfully manages to grab and steal the ball away from him and then quickly runs away with it down the court. Zhong then calls out and asks Yigang to throw and pass the ball over to him so he can take a shot, but Yigang completely ignores Zhong's request and continues playing without acknowledging him at all or paying any attention. Wu then tells both Ling and Fatty to get into defensive positions and play defense right away, and then Ling very quickly moves and stands directly in front of Yigang in order to block his path and prevent him from moving forward with the ball. Afterward, Yigang then remembers and recalls the exact words that his coach said to him about how he should not have brought the cripple along to play the game and how completely useless and worthless he really is to the team. Instead of passing the ball to anyone on his team, Yigang quickly jumps up into the air and throws the ball toward the basket, thinking to himself that he does not know why, but whenever he thinks that the shot is wide open and clear before his eyes, he would suddenly fall and plunge into an endless darkness that surrounds him completely. The ball does not go inside the basket successfully, but it hits the backboard hard and rebounds back out onto the court, so the Fatty quickly grabs it and passes it over to Wu so they can continue their play. Gu Shuwei then quickly charges and rushes towards Wu with speed to try and steal the ball away from him, but Wu passes the ball back to Ling before Gu Shuai can reach him, and then Ling runs across the entire field with determination and throws the ball into the basket for a successful score. Seeing that amazing play happen right before them, everyone in the crowd starts cheering loudly and excitedly for Ling and chants his name over and over again, but Gu Shuai realizes and thinks to himself that they have now tied the game up with their opponents. Zhong then slaps Yigang hard across the face and asks Yigang if he really thinks that he is the only person and player on the entire court who matters at all. Gu Shuai tries his best to calm both of them down and tells them that they have not lost the game yet and still have a chance, but Yigang gets angry and pushes Zhong away from him with force. After that, the game continues with Wu having possession of the ball in his control, and he tells Gu Shuai that his two friends do not seem to get along with each other very well at all. Wu then quickly runs past Gu Shuai with speed, saying out loud that they are definitely going to win this game no matter what happens next. Wu tries to pass the ball over to Ling so he can score a point, but Gu Shuai blocks and stops the pass from reaching him successfully, and then he quickly passes the ball back to Yigang so he can take control of it. However, Zhong steals and intercepts the pass before it reaches Yigang, and then he quickly throws the ball into the basket, which surprises everyone watching the game unfold. Zhong then tells Gu Shuai that he needs to pass the ball to him more often during the game, as he can clearly see for himself he is really good at throwing it into the basket and scoring points for their team. Zhong then tells Yigang directly that thanks to him and his efforts, he can still stand on this basketball court and play for just a little bit longer before everything ends. On the other hand, Wu tells his entire team that Yigang is feeling anxious and nervous now at this moment, so they can take him down easily without much difficulty or trouble at all. The game then resumes and continues with Gu Shuai having possession of the ball in his hands, and he quickly gets blocked and surrounded by both Ling and Wu, who are defending against him aggressively. Gu Shuai tries his absolute best to still be in control of the ball and not lose it to the other team despite the pressure. Gu Shuai realizes and understands that they are tightly guarding and watching their most stable scorer very closely, which is definitely expected of Wu and his smart strategy. Gu Shuai then notices and sees that Yigang is standing behind him and asking for the ball to be passed to him so he can make a play. Gu Shuai then manages to pass the ball over to Yigang, who then quickly runs towards the basket with speed and determination to score a point for his team. Ling quickly notices that happening right in front of him and runs after Yigang to try and stop him from scoring, while Gu Shuai shouts loudly at Yigang not to be reckless and careless with his movements on the court. Yigang then manages to dodge and avoid Ling's attacks and attempts to block him and dribbles the ball smartly with good control and skill. He then jumps high up in the air and tries to throw the ball into the basket for a score, but Fatty intercepts and blocks the shot at the last second, causing Yigang to fall down hard on the ground below. The ball then gets possession by Ling, who quickly runs to the other side of the court with the ball, while Zhong shouts loudly at Yigang to get back to defense and help the team right away. Yigang does not listen to him or follow his instructions, and he cannot understand the fact that his shot got missed and blocked earlier when he thought it would go in successfully. He thinks to himself that the basket is right in front of him and visible, but why did it suddenly disappear again from his view and sight? And then Yigang gets flashbacks and memories of all the moments from his past, including telling his dad that he wants to be a professional basketball player to the coach, insulting him harshly and kicking him out of the team completely. Ling then quickly runs towards the basket with speed to score a point for his team, but Gu Shuai manages to block and stop it before it goes in successfully. Zhong still gets angry and frustrated at Yigang and tells him directly that if he is still afraid to play the game properly, then he can just get off the court right now and leave. Just then, at that exact moment, Yigang's dad arrives at the court and asks Yigang what his true belief in basketball really is and what it means to him. Afterward, we get a flashback memory from the past when Yigang's dad got him new basketball shoes as a gift for his birthday celebration. Yigang asks him with curiosity why he got him a Jordan 12 shoe, which is just a different color variation. But his dad explains that this is the exact color scheme that was worn by Jordan during the 1997 Finals championship game. Even at the older age of 34 years old, past his prime years of playing at his best, even in the famous Cord Delta Center playing against the powerful and strong team called the Jazz, Jordan's flu game performance inspired their entire generation of basketball players and fans. Yigang then tells his dad that now the technology in shoes is advancing by leaps and bounds very quickly, and he personally thinks and believes that LeBron's shoes are actually better and more suitable for actual game plays on the court. Yigang's dad replies that good shoes are the same as good players in many ways, because technology and skills are only just there to support him and help him perform, but the most important thing that matters is his true basketball belief and passion for the game. He explains that no matter in what kind of adversity, he never gave up, and Jordan used his every game to show his basketball belief to them, and this belief made him the greatest player. Back in the present time, Zhong is still getting furious at Yigang for not playing at all and just standing there doing nothing on the court, but then Yigang stands up from the ground and tells them that they should start playing seriously now and focus on winning. Yigang's dad then shouts loudly from the sidelines that no matter what kind of adversity or difficulty he faces in life, he should never give up on his dreams or goals. The match then continues and moves forward with Gu Shuai trying to steal the ball away from Wu's control, but then Yigang appears out of nowhere suddenly and quickly steals the ball from Wu before Gu Shuai can reach him. He then runs straight towards the basket with determination and jumps high into the air, just like before when Fatty also jumps at the exact same time to stop him from scoring the point. Igung then thinks back about how his dad told him that relying only on the sick Jordan player was completely impossible to be the champion of the year 1997 and win the title. Instead of throwing the ball into the basket himself, he passes it backwards to Gushue, who is standing behind him ready to catch it. Gushue gets possession of the ball in his hands, but just as he is about to throw it into the basket for a score, Wu quickly jumps from behind him and tackles Gushue hard on the ground with force. Gushue then got a knee injury from the fall, and the audience members think and remember that they heard Gushue had injured his knee before in the past, so it's going to be even worse and more serious now than before. They also think and believe that Wu is taking this game way too seriously, as it's just a simple ball game for fun, and they really don't need to get all worked up and aggressive about winning or losing. Later on, everyone takes him to the hospital for treatment, and outside in the parking area, Igung once again dribbles the basketball like a maniac who cannot stop practicing at all. Just then, Gushue exits the hospital building and tells everyone gathered there that the doctor said it is an unrecoverable mechanical injury to his knee, so it is strongly recommended not to do any vigorous exercises or physical activities that could make it worse. Everyone then gets sad and upset to hear that news about his condition, but Gushue tells them that it is the price and consequence of being too reckless and careless when he was young and didn't take care of his body properly. He then announces to everyone present that from now on and this moment forward, he will officially retire from basketball completely and never play again. He then says that from now on in the future, he is going to cheer for everyone from the sidelines and support them, and then he apologizes directly to Wu for ruining their closest opportunity to become a professional basketball team together. Hearing that, Wu starts crying with tears and shows Gushue a middle finger gesture, saying to him that he cannot even remember what happened in the past anymore. After that, Zhong tells everyone gathered around to have fun and enjoy themselves, as he needs to get back home to his wifey right away. Hearing that, the Musketeer brothers get jealous and wonder if he actually has a girlfriend or partner. Wu tells Zhong that it is a rare occasion for them all to be together, so he should stay and leave after having a drink with them, but Zhong does not care about that and leaves anyway. Gushue and the others then invites Igung for a drink, but Igung says that he is interested in the professional team he just mentioned. After that, they all goes to a bar to enjoy drinks, where Gushue asks Igung if his goal is major league or minor league. He explains that professional leagues are divided into major and minor leagues. The top players are all from major league teams. In addition to that, the lower-level minor league teams reaching a certain level can also be promoted to a major league team. Later that night, Igung tells his dad that he wants to be a professional player. Afterward, we get a flashback of Zhong, who gets kicked out from his workplace for not paying attention to his work and being distracted all the time. Zhong thinks to himself that he has to find a new job before he starves to death, as he does not even have much money left in his pocket to survive. Just then, a girl approaches him on the street and asks him if he wants to taste some delicious cake that she is selling to people. The girl turns out to be wearing a bunny costume while selling some cakes on the street to customers, and she tells Zhong that they are new flavors and samples are completely free to try without paying anything. Seeing her, Zhong gets because of how cute and adorable she looks in that costume, so then he quickly eats the cake sample that she offers to him. She then tells him with excitement that their shop is now holding a big opening event for customers, and if he spends 300 yuan on their products, he will get a free box of cheesecake as a special gift. Zhong quickly asks her for more samples to try, and then he continues to eat while the girl tells him again that their shop is now holding a big event for their grand opening, and if he spends 300 yuan on anything, he will get a box of cheesecake completely free. After that, the girl tells him that the sweetheart bones he is tasting now is on discount today, and as long as he spend 20 yuan, but hearing that, Zhong quickly runs away. The next day, Zhong once again visits the girl at her stall and tries the cake that she has made for customers. He does not stop there with just one visit, but he visits the cake stall daily every single day and tries different samples and flavors each day to support her business. One day during his visits, Zhong removes her mask from her face, and then he also joins her in promoting and advertising her stall to potential customers passing by. Back in the present time, Zhong visits her kitchen workplace to pick her up while she is instructing and teaching others on how to bake the cakes properly with the right ingredients. The girls working there tell her that her boyfriend is here at the door to see her and take her somewhere. The girl then goes with him out of the kitchen, but the others in the kitchen start to gossip and talk about how Zhong does not have a decent job and he just plays basketball on the streets all day long without doing anything productive. Just as Zhong and the girl head out together to watch a movie at the theater, Igung appears in front of them suddenly and tells Zhong to play a basketball game with him right now. Seeing him, the girl quickly recognizes Igung and says that he is the kid from the fair, but Igung tells her that he is looking for Zhong to play a match. Zhong then distracts him and quickly starts the bike and leaves Igung behind. The girl asks him if it is okay to leave like this, but Zhong tells her that he wants to play basketball like crazy, but he don't have time for him. Zhong thinks that why Igung hasn't starved much, playing basketballs won't pay the bills. After spending the entire day with his girl, Zhong drops her back home. Out of nowhere, Igung also arrives and says he got up late, but Zhong gets shocked to see how he found him here. Igung then tells her that there is a court nearby, only takes 5 minutes to get there, but Jong tells him to get his helmet off and leave. He then tries to distract Igung once again, saying there is a LeBron James behind him, but when Igung turns around to look, he quickly runs away. Later, Igung arrives at the KFC restaurant where Jong is working his shift and asks for 1 burger and 1 chicken drumstick meal combo from the menu. Igung then asks him when he gets off work from his shift, but Jong tries his absolute best to avoid him and not answer his questions. Jong then freaks out and panics and tells him loudly that he does not have time to play basketball with him at all, but Jong's manager tells him to watch his attitude and respect his customer properly or face consequences. Igung then receives his meal order and sits down to eat it at a table. The next day after that encounter, Igung again follows Jong around to his labor work job, and he does not stop there with just that, so he continues to follow him to the gym where he trains girls and teaches them exercises. On day 7 of following him around, Jong is playing basketball in the ground as a substitute for someone else, and he even gets paid money for playing in their place. After the match ends and everyone leaves, Igung approaches him and asks him that he said earlier he does not play basketball anymore at all. Jong tells him that it is work-related and just a job, but Igung says that during the game with Wu, he was a lot stronger and better than he played today. Jong then gets furious at him and says that he has to work hard every day to support his family and pay bills, but Igung throws his wallet at him and asks how much money he needs to play basketball with him. After that, Igung and Jong starts playing basketball in the court, and it turns out that Jong is actually domination by throwing the ball in the basket. He then tells Igung that if they keep playing like this, then the little money in his wallet won't last long. He even suggests and recommends that they should go to a nearby ATM machine to withdraw some more cash and money, but Igung does not reply or respond to his suggestion at all. The match then continues and moves forward with Igung trying his best to block him and stop his movements, but Jong just moves around skillfully in order to avoid him from stealing the ball away from his control. Jong then quickly turns around with speed and jumps high up into the air to throw the ball into the basket for a score. We then get a flashback memory from the past, where Jong shows off his insane throws and shooting skills exactly like the famous player LeBron James would do on the court. Everyone in the crowd used to appreciate him and his talent and say to him that once he becomes famous and successful, he should not forget his bro and friends who supported him. Soon after some time passes, the roster and list for the professional team is announced out to everyone, and there are names of a bunch of different people on the list, but Jong did not get selected or chosen again for the team. Everyone around him wonders and questions if he has been on the bad side of the coach or made him angry, because he has been in the training camp for 2 whole years and still has not gotten selected for the professional team. Back in the present time, Igung asks Jong directly why he did not make it into the professional basketball team when he had the skills and talent. We then get a flashback memory from the past where Jong goes to the coach's office to talk to him, but he overhears someone paying the coach money in exchange for a player to enter and join the professional team this time around. Hearing that conversation taking place, Jong gets furious and realizes that the coach is actually a fraud and corrupt person who takes money from others in exchange for spots on the team. Back in the present time again, Jong then quickly runs around the court and shows Igung his amazing performance and skills that he still has after all this time. Igung and Jong quickly run after the ball together with speed and determination, but then the ball bounces and goes out of bounds off the court completely. Just then at that exact moment, Jong's girlfriend arrives at the court and catches the ball in her hands before it rolls away. The girl then says to both of them that this is the first time she has actually seen Jong playing basketball on the court, and it is definitely different than his usual behavior and personality. She then smacks the ball hard on his face as punishment, saying to him that he still did not come pick her up from work like he promised, but Jong quickly starts acting like a cute dog to make her forgive him. He then tells Igung that this was it for today and they are done playing, as he scored 2 goals just now during their game, so his 500 yuan payment is enough for 3 scores total. Igung then grabs his shirt tightly and tells him firmly to finish the game properly until the end, but Igung once again fools and tricks him by saying there is a beautiful girl in the park dancing and performing right now. This time around Igung does not get distracted by his words at all, but the girl tells him that his phone has been vibrating and ringing for a while now and he should check it. Igung then goes away to take the call from whoever is trying to reach him, while Jong tells his girl with frustration that he only knows how to play basketball with dudes and friends and not finding a date or girlfriend for himself to spend time with. The call turns out to be from Kwon, who tells Igung that they should go out together for a barbecue meal, and it is his first day of work at his new job, so he wants to celebrate it with his friend. Igung then tells him to come to the basketball court where they are playing right now, and Kwon finally arrives and plays basketball to relieve his stress and tension from work. Kwon then asks him if he remembers the first time he made a dunk shot above him during a game, because from that moment forward, he believed that Igung would become a basketball superstar and famous player one day. He tells Igung while they play that he watched from the sidelines and benches, and in 4 years of playing, he started from being just a bench player to becoming a starter on the team eventually. He even tells Igung with excitement that he will convince and persuade his dad to write a recommendation letter for him to help his career, but Igung says firmly that he does not want it or need that kind of help from anyone. He explains that he will start in the minor league and become the strongest professional player step by step. Hearing that, Kwon freaks out and says that in this 1 year, those who are more talented like him will receive more pro guidance in their training, which will make the gap between him only widen. Igung then decides to leave, saying this is his own path so he will use his own way. The next day, Kwon calls Igung and tells him that he found something that could be his shortcut to the minor league. Later on, Igung is riding on a subway train when he hears some guys talking and discussing about how among these 4 basketball stadiums available, the challenger of the court will be an NBA star player competing. Just then, they notice Igung standing in front of them on the train, but they are shocked and surprised because he is over 190 centimeters tall and towers over them. After that subway ride, they arrive at the basketball stadium where they think and assume that Igung is probably a semi-professional player based on his height. Just then suddenly, a group of tall basketball players that includes Lei Yang from Binhai University walks past them in the hallway, and the other guy walking with them is Gu Shuei, who they recognize. At the event taking place, Igung finally arrives at the location and asks Kwon if he needs to apply for some form or registration, but Kwon says and explains that the competition requires at least 5 players for each team to participate properly. So, because of that rule, they have to gather and recruit 5 people by the deadline of July 12th. And Kwon asks him if he is on good terms with players from different teams who might join. Just then while they are talking, Kwon finds and spots Lei Yang and the others walking around nearby. Gu Shuei quickly recognizes Igung standing there and tells him that Lei Yang and his little cousin are middle school classmates from way back, so they did not have enough people for their team and they dragged him along to make up the count and fill the roster. Just then at that moment, another player named Hao Lin introduces himself to Igung and says that he knows and heard that he got eliminated and kicked out from his previous team recently. Kwon then asks Hao Lin if they are still short on people for their team, because Igung is looking for a team to join and compete with in the tournament. Hearing that question, Hao Lin grabs Kwon's glasses from his face and places it on top of his hat for fun, then he runs straight towards the basket with speed and confidence. He jumps high up into the air and places the glasses on the edge of the basket rim and tells them that a self-dunk is not that difficult to do for someone skilled. Lei Yang then extends his hand towards Igung for a handshake and tells Igung that the next time they see each other on the court, they will be opponents competing against one another in the game. Later that night after the confrontation, Kwon takes Igung to a specific place located under a bridge where various biker gangs are present and gathered, all watching basketball games being played. A guy named Tizui watches expensive Jordan shoes on his phone screen and gets mad and frustrated at how expensive the price has gotten over time. He gets angry and upset because the thought of buying them at a higher price than before angers him even more than he already is. Igung thinks to himself that this is just some random basketball court under a bridge and nothing special, but Kwon tells him not to talk nonsense and be quiet, because the players here should not be provoked or made angry at all. He also tells him to wait quietly and patiently for the skilled players that they are looking for to appear and show up, but Igung says that there are no skilled players here as it looks like they are just fighting each other instead of playing basketball properly. Kwon tells him that there is a person that goes by the name Tiger here at this location and his first master teacher is from the national basketball team, so his control of the ball can be said to be on the same level as professional national team players. Suddenly, a guy pushes Kwon from behind who then accidentally steps on Tizui's brand new Jordan shoes and dirties them. Tizui tells him angrily that wiping the dirt off the shoes will not fix this problem now, so he has to pay for the damage to his expensive shoes. He tells Kwon to take the Jordan shoes off his feet right now and give them to him, but then Igung grabs the guy who pushed Kwon hard and says that if they need to pay for anything, he needs to pay along with them together. Igung then starts fighting with the others on the opposing team and they end up getting beaten badly and losing the physical confrontation with all of them. At that exact moment right after the fight, a baddie arrives at the scene on her motorcycle, which makes Igung think to himself that he might have seen her somewhere before in the past but cannot remember where. After that incident happens on the court, another girl takes off her helmet and reveals her face to everyone present, and she is widely known as Leopard Sis by everyone around in the area, but the same girl who helped Igung earlier in the bar situation now tells Leopard Sis directly that Igung actually knows how to play basketball really well and has good skills. Leopard Sis then turns to Igung and tells him very directly and seriously that he smashed up her place and damaged her property during the fight, and he also hurt her people very badly during the brawl, so if he cannot help her win this basketball game tonight against their opponents, then both he and the fatty friend will not be making it back home alive safely from this place. Igung then asks Leopard Sis with genuine confusion on his face about who exactly Tiger is in this situation and what does Tiger have to do with anything that is happening right now, but the girl from the bar earlier explains to Igung that they are playing against Tiger and his entire team tonight in this basketball game. Afterward, we get a flashback memory of Tiger from the past where a bunch of kids took his mask off his face and beat him up violently in a basketball court while mocking him. The boys say to him that they are sick and tired of his girly face and appearance, and they do not want to see him around in the future at all. Tiger then starts crying with tears running down his face, but out of nowhere suddenly a girl arrives at the basketball court with a ball in her hands and quickly runs and throws the ball toward the basket, but it just rebounds off the rim and hits Tiger's face instead of going in. She then approaches him where he is sitting on the ground and says that it is so annoying and pathetic to see a man crying like a baby. The girl picks up his mask from the ground and asks him why he is crying so much, because the more he begs for mercy from bullies, the more vigorous and aggressive those boys will be towards him. She then puts the mask back on his face gently and says to him that if he does not want to be bullied anymore by anyone, then he should not let others see his weakness and vulnerable side. She then tells him to get up from the ground as she is going through special training right now for basketball, so she needs someone to practice with her and help her improve. Tiger then starts training with her and time goes by, he still trains with her. One day, she informs Tiger that she is going to leave now, so from now on, he have to play by himself. For Tiger, Master, the first national player to have come from the Slims, and she taught him how to play basketball and how to live, and he believed that no matter how hard the situation is, but if someone can control the ball then they can handle anything. Back in the present time, Tiger finally arrives at the location under the bridge and then he gives flowers as a gift to Yan Xiao to impress her. However, she insults him and rejects his romantic gesture, but he just takes off his shirt and flexes his hairy chest muscles to show off his body. Now at this moment, everyone gets ready for the match to begin with Igung's team including Leopard Sis, Yan Xiao and him playing together on one side, while on the Tiger's team is Froggy and Kuma playing as his teammates on the other side. Igung thinks to himself that the three of them on Tiger's team have really good physique and muscles, and he does not believe that Leopard Sis is strong enough to compete against them at all. The match then begins with Tiger showing off his incredible power against Igung, and no matter how hard he tries to defend or steal the ball, he just could not get the ball away from Tiger's control. Afterward, the match continues with Leopard trying to score a point for their team, but the ball rebounds off the rim and gets possession by Tiger, who catches it. Igung tries his absolute best to steal the ball away from Tiger's control, but he just dodges every single move and attempt and quickly throws the ball into the basket for a successful score. Now at this point in the game, Tiger's team is 3 points ahead as compared to Igung's team, who are trailing behind, but then Leopard Sis grabs Igung's cheeks tightly with her fingers and pinches them. She asks him sarcastically if he is dating Tiger or something, because he is stuck to him so closely and following him around the entire court. She then asks him if he practiced his defense skills on the dance floor instead of the basketball court, because he only knows how to reach for the ball without proper technique. After that, the match continues once again with Tiger doing fancy dribbling moves in front of Igung to show off his skills and abilities, and then he tries to just swing around and move past him easily with speed. He says mockingly that passing him is as easy as passing the road in the morning, because even his grandma is faster and better than Igung at defending. Igung then also moves along with Tiger and follows his movements closely, which makes Tiger think to himself that Igung might have finally realized that there is nothing else to do than guard and play defense against him. Igung realizes that he is under pressure from Tiger's offensive moves, so he quickly tries to steal the ball away from Tiger's control, but Tiger uses his tricks and skills to dodge the steal attempt successfully. Tiger then attempts to jump up high into the air and shoot the basketball into the basket to score points for his team, but Igung completely blocks the shot attempt with his hands at the very last second before the ball can leave Tiger's hands, so Tiger quickly passes the ball to his teammate Kuma instead of trying to take another shot himself right away. Leopard tries her absolute best to steal the basketball away from Kuma's control and possession by reaching in and using her quick hands, but she fails to do that successfully because Kuma just pushes her aside easily with his physical strength and body weight advantage over her. Just as Kuma is trying to throw the basketball into the basket to score a point for their team, Leopard Sis suddenly pushes him towards her direction with force and tries to disrupt his shot, and at that exact same moment in time, Igung also arrives at that specific spot on the basketball court. The basketball then hits Igung directly in his face very hard and bounces off his head, and then Tiger quickly steals the loose basketball before anyone else can react to what just happened, and he throws it into the basket easily for a quick score for his team. After scoring another point successfully, Tiger starts dancing and celebrating and tells Igung mockingly that he is just cheating on his teammate to make easy passes and score points. He even tells Igung that the pass was not bad at all, but he has to wait until he wins the entire game, and then he will invite Igung to his wedding with Yan Xiao as a joke. Igung then tells him confidently that his luck is coming to an end now, because he is able to guard and defend against him properly now with better technique, but Tiger says back that there is no luck involved at all as he scored 4 points consecutively in a row without missing. Just then, Leopard Sis grabs Igung's cheeks once again tightly with her fingers and tells him that she can guard against her opponent well enough on her own, so he does not need to be a smartass and interfere with her defense. After that exchange happens, the host also tells the crowd watching if Tiger scored all the goals because of pure luck or if the beauties on the other team have risen up and improved their game. Hearing that, Tiger gets angry and asks Igung why he said something like that and insult him in front of everyone, because the host is now making fun of him for no good reason at all. Yan Xiao then also tells Tiger that he scored all his points because of luck and chance, because he was relying on their players' passes to score easily, which makes it hard for her to believe that it is not just pure luck. Tiger then gets furious and says that in the next ball possession he will end Yi Gung's ankle and hurt him badly, so Yan Xiao tells Yi Gung as a warning that Tiger will not pass the next ball now and will play aggressively. The match then continues with Yi Gung and Tiger going face to face with each other in an intense matchup, but during that confrontation, Tiger hits Yi Gung with his body on purpose. Tiger then quickly jumps up high into the air and tries to throw the ball into the basket for a score, but Yi Gung blocks the shot with his hands successfully and prevents the basket from being made. The ball then gets possession by Yan Xiao, who is struggling against Froggy, trying to block her movements and stop her from advancing, but she then quickly throws the ball forward down the court to advance their offense and create a scoring opportunity. The ball then gets to Leopard Sis, who catches it perfectly, and then she quickly jumps up into the air and throws the ball into the basket for a successful score. Seeing that, Quan thinks to himself that Court Eshiton not only has Tiger playing for them, but the two players in front of them are skilled players who can make passes and cooperate with each other at a professional level of basketball. Afterward, we get a flashback memory of Leopard Sis, who was sitting alone in the basketball court when a girl approaches her with money in her hand, saying to her that she will come here every single day after school and watch everyone play basketball. The girl then tells her that she wants to be her follower and join her group, but Leopard Sis grabs the girl's hairpin from her hair and says that it should match her own hairstyle nicely and looks good on her. Leopard Sis then heads to the basketball court to play a game and then tells the girl that in the future, she should find her on this exact court if she ever needs help with anything, and then she will cover for her and protect her. Back in the present time, Leopard Sis scored another point after throwing the ball into the basket successfully, and everyone watching thinks that Leopard Sis and Yan Zhao's luxury combo partnership is just like the real deal and professional level. After that impressive play, Leopard Sis and Yan Xiao show off their incredibly goddess duo skills by throwing the ball into the basket one after another without missing a single shot. They have successfully managed to take over the score and lead with 5-4 points against Tiger's team, and they are now winning the game at this moment. On the other hand, Tiger tells his teammate directly that he will personally guard and defend against Leopard Sis himself from now on, so his teammate should guard Yan Xiao instead, and they should switch their defensive assignments with each other right away. Just then, at that exact moment, Yi Gung shows up near them on the court, and he says mockingly to Tiger that Tiger is unable to guard him properly during the game, so he is saying this switch on purpose to avoid embarrassment in front of everyone watching. After seeing that exchange happen between the players, the host of the game makes fun of Tiger publicly in front of all the spectators, saying out loud that there are two women on the basketball court who have made Tiger look weak and unable to compete at their level of play. After that play finishes, the match continues with Tiger managing to break Yan Xiao and Leopard Sis's cooperation and teamwork this time around successfully, and then Kuma gets possession of the ball for their team and takes control. Yi Gung then manages to cut off and intercept Kuma's ball in a split second with quick reflexes, and the ball goes towards Yan Xiao, who catches it successfully. She is then looking for a good chance to pass the ball to a teammate while dribbling and moving around the court, but she is frustrated and upset as she cannot pass it to Leopard Sis, who is being blocked tightly by Tiger's defense. Leopard Sis tells her loudly to just score the point herself instead of passing, and then Yan Xiao throws the ball towards the basket to attempt a shot, but it gets slow and loses momentum in the air, so Yi Gung quickly jumps up high and puts the ball into the basket himself to finish the play. After that successful play, everyone starts cheering loudly for Yi Gung and saying that he is so cool and impressive, and now Yan Zhao's team is in the lead by 2 points ahead of Tiger's team. However, Leopard Sis notices that there is something wrong with Yan Zhao's behavior as she looks nervous and worried about something on the court. The match then continues with Froggy stealing the ball away from Yan Zhao's control, and then he quickly passes it back to his teammate Kuma to advance their offense. After that happens, Yan Xiao once again lets Froggy receive that pass way too easily without proper defense, and now Team Tiger has decided to use Kuma against Leopard Sis as he keeps blocking her movements and preventing her from scoring. Kuma then manages to score the goal successfully by throwing the ball into the basket, and then they start dancing and celebrating their point together. Yan Xiao then helps Leopard Sis stand up from the floor as she slipped and fell down hard, but Leopard Sis then gets closer to her face and says that in the next ball possession, she will stop Kuma from scoring, but Yan Xiao also has to promise her that when she gets the ball in her hands, she will not overthink it and just shoot immediately. Out of nowhere, Yi Gung gets closer to them and tells Xiao directly that she relies way too much on her cooperation with Leopard Sis, and out of the two of them, she is the weakest player on their team. He then says firmly that if this pattern continues, then they will definitely lose the game, so from now on, as long as she has the ball in her possession, she should just score by herself without hesitation. The game then starts up again with Tiger and Yi Gung running around the court while Kuma has possession of the ball, and Leopard Sis tries her absolute best to steal it away from his control. Kuma tries to throw the ball into the basket to score a point, but then Yi Gung appears at the right moment and passes the ball towards Yan Xiao at the very last second before Kuma can shoot. Yan Xiao then throws the ball towards the basket to attempt a score, but it rebounds off the rim and bounces back, and then Leopard Sis gets the ball and catches it. She then quickly throws it into the basket without wasting any time and scores another point for their team. We then gets a flashback where Igung's father get to know that he scored all the 51 points by himself. He is impressed by this and tells him to attract the attention of girls with this, but Igung tells him that no matter how many points they got, they still fail to win the game. Back in present, Igung shows his amazing performance, and this time Yan Xiao also manages to score a point. We then get a flashback memory of both Igung's life and Yan Xiao's daily life, where Igung is being appreciated and loved by his dad, while Yan Xiao is treated badly and harshly by her family. Yan Xiao wakes up in the morning to find her mother playing mahjong early in the morning with friends, and she even insults her daughter badly for waking up like this and disturbing them. On the other hand, Igung wakes up peacefully in his home to find out that his father made breakfast for him with care and love. Yan Xiao starts arguing with her mother for not being considerate of the fact that she is a bartender who works late at night and wakes up late in the day. Yan Xiao's mother tells her harshly that she brings shame to her and the entire family, while Igung's father tells him kindly that he is proud of him and his accomplishments. Back in the present time, everyone watching thinks that thanks to Igung's assist and help, Yan Xiao has managed to score a goal successfully, and with this shot going in, the Leopard Sis's team earns 2 more points and increases their lead. Yan Xiao then asks Igung what if she didn't make the goal, so he tells her that he can still get the rebound. Leopard Sis then tells them as a warning that Tiger will not just admit defeat easily like this, so they have to be very careful about the next ball possession and play smart. Tiger then tells his team with determination that in the next ball possession, they should grab it at all costs no matter what happens, and if they lose this game they will be single for the rest of their lives together as punishment. Igung then speaks back to his team members and says that if their opponents are going to go for fouls and physical play during the game, it does not really matter what the other team tries to do to them unless they do not even give their opponents the chance to foul them in the first place by playing smart basketball and avoiding contact. The game then continues forward and moves along with Yan Xiao having the basketball in her possession and control, and she is carefully looking around for a good opportunity to either pass the ball to a teammate or shoot the ball herself to score. She then sees and notices that Igung is already being blocked very tightly by Froggy, who is trying his absolute best to stop Igung from getting open and receiving the ball, but Igung continues trying to sneak around his defender and find some open space on the court anyway despite the tight defense. Yan Xiao then decides to shoot the basketball towards the basket to attempt to score a goal for their team, and then right after she releases the ball, Igung quickly jumps high up in the air above everyone else to catch the ball and put it into the basket to finish the play successfully. However, Igung ends up missing the goal and the shot does not go in, and the ball rebounds off the rim towards Yan Xiao, who catches it. Seeing that opportunity, Tiger quickly tells his teammate to stop her from scoring, so he quickly runs towards her to block her shot, but instead of throwing the ball to the basket herself, she passes it to Leopard Sis, who is open. Leopard Sis then quickly throws the ball into the basket and scores the winning goal for the team, which excites the crowd and makes everyone cheer loudly. Finally, the game gets over and ends with Yan Xiao's team achieving victory over Tiger's team, and then everyone starts calling Yan Xiao and Leopard Sis goddesses for playing so good and impressively in the match. Quan then quickly runs towards Igung with excitement and hugs him tightly to celebrate, but for the first time in his life, Igung feels truly happy about winning the match and being part of a team. After that celebration, Tiger says sadly that he not only lost the game to them but also lost Yan Xiao and everything else in the world. Tiger then decides to take off his mask to show everyone his real face and reveal his true identity, but as soon as his mask gets removed from his face, Yan Xiao and everyone present at the court are surprised and shocked to see how good-looking and handsome he actually is underneath. Tiger tells everyone gathered around that from now on and this moment forward, there is no Tiger in Eshiton Court anymore, and once he has seen the best person in the world, the rest is not worthwhile to be sought after or pursued. He then gives his mask to someone as a gift, saying it is a symbol of his faith in love and his dedication to Yan Xiao, and then he leaves the court sadly. Leopard Sis gets all flustered and embarrassed and thinks to herself that Igung is actually pretty cool and impressive when he is not being stupid or saying dumb things to people. Igung then tells Tiger to team up with him for future games and competitions, saying that although he plays more solo and independently on the court, he is not a useless guy at all and has skills. Hearing that comment being made, Tiger gets furious and angry at Igung's words, but Quan quickly takes Igung away from him before a fight can break out between them. Igung then approaches Leopard Sis and asks her to team up with him for future basketball competitions and games, and he says to her that although she is short in height and wimpy in appearance compared to other players, her speed on the court and shooting abilities are actually really good and impressive when she plays. Leopard Sis tells Igung directly and clearly that she is not interested in teaming up with him at all for any competitions, but she mentions that Yan Xiao can join his team if she personally wants to play basketball with him and his group. Leopard Sis then turns to Yan Xiao and tells her that in the last ball possession during the game they just played, she should have made the shot herself instead of relying on other people to take the shot for her. She continues by saying that now Yan Xiao is a grown-up girl who needs to be more independent, so Leopard Sis is no longer going to look after her and protect her anymore like she used to do before. The next day after the game, Quan runs straight towards his office workplace because there is an urgent meeting that he needs to attend and cannot miss. He then receives a phone call from his mom on his cell phone, saying that he should get off work early today as she made his favorite crispy chicken for dinner, but Quan tells her that he needs to accompany his boss in a gathering today and cannot come home early. Quan then arrives at the basketball court where Yigang tells him that Yan Zhao's shooting skills are still bad and not improving, as there is a problem with her hand forms and technique that needs fixing. Hearing that criticism, Yan Xiao tells him defensively that if she has a problem with her form then he can just go find someone that does not have a problem to team up with instead. Yan Xiao then tells them that she is leaving the court right now because she still has to go to work at the bar, but Quan asks her if he can join her and walk with her as his home is in that direction anyway. He then quickly gets on her motorcycle back seat and tells her to take him as well, as his home is nearby, which is only 5 minutes walk from where they are. Yan Xiao then drops him outside her bar workplace on her motorcycle, but then he tells her that it was great to have her on the team and play with her, and then he tries to leave and walk away. Yan Xiao asks him with curiosity why did he stop playing basketball when he clearly has some knowledge about the game, so he tells her that fat people like him are not suitable for basketball and cannot compete properly. He then tells her that he will do his best in helping both of them succeed as much as he can, because he can still strategize and plan plays even if he cannot play himself. Quan then tells her that finding a decent job with stability is better than being on the streets all the time playing basketball for no future, but then he realizes immediately that he said something wrong and insensitive to her current situation and work. Later that night, Quan gets back home stumbling like a drunkard, which makes his dad even more furious and angry at his behavior. Quan says to his dad that he forbid him from playing basketball and he did stop playing, but what else does he want from him now and why is he still angry? Quan's dad then gets even more angry and upset and says that he provides him with food, basic necessities, and everything that he deserves in life, but now he is going to show him attitude and disrespect like this. Hearing those harsh words from his father, Quan just goes back to his room without arguing further and thinks about Yan Xiao and their conversation earlier that day. The next day, Quan's boss tells him to go pick up an important client for him this evening, and if he does well on this task then he will become an official employee for the company and get a permanent position. Quan then drives his boss's expensive Mercedes car around the city when he finds Yan Xiao crossing the road on foot, so he quickly stops the vehicle and asks her if she wants a ride to wherever she is heading. Yan Xiao says with surprise that she had no idea at all that he was from a wealthy family and had access to such nice cars. Just then at that moment, Yigang also shows up at the scene near them, so Quan tells him quickly to keep quiet and not expose the fact that it is not his car but belongs to his boss instead. Yan Xiao then gives her bike key to Yigang and tells him to take her bike to the bar where she works so it does not get stolen or left on the street. After that happens, Xiao and Quan are stuck in heavy traffic on the road when a romantic song about Romeo and Juliet is playing in the car through the speakers. This gets the situation awkward, so Quan asks her about today's practice but she replies that it's like usual and asks if he find new members for Yigang yet. Quan replies that he haven't found anyone yet, so she asks him how he and Yigang actually met. Quan tells her that they met in middle school when he stopped playing, so she asks why he did but he doesn't reply. After that drive together, they arrive at Yan Zhao's bar where she works, and she offers him a drink and says that he should finish it quickly and then go pick up his client for work. She then asks him what drink he is going to choose from the menu but Quan says that his entire 22 years of life, he has always been drinking milk and nothing at all. Just then suddenly, another guy shows up at the bar and tries to flirt with Yan Xiao and get her attention, but she tells him to just drink his and leave the bar. The guy then tells Quan mockingly that there is a difference between a normal person and a fatty like him, so he should not force someone to be his girlfriend when it is not meant to be. The guy then pays for his drink at the counter and kisses Yan Zhao's hand inappropriately, but she says that some people have no choice in their lives as all they have is and nothing else. Seeing that, Quan finishes his drink quickly and punches the guy hard on his head with anger. After that punch is thrown, everyone in the bar starts beating up Quan like wild animals and attacking him violently. The next day, Quan leaves from his office like usual at the end of his shift, and everyone in the office thinks and gossips that the reason he gets to leave on time is because the owner is related to his dad and gives him special treatment. Quan then calls his mom on the phone who yells at him and says that if he did not get into a fight with his dad recently, he would not have set a curfew on him and restricted his freedom. She then tells him to eat food from the fridge when he gets home and remember to send his dad his location so he knows where he is. Quan then changes his clothes when he arrives home and decides to check the fridge to see what is there to eat for dinner tonight. Later that evening, Quan receives a call from his boss who tells him that tomorrow the company will accompany an important client to a basketball game for entertainment, but the other employees are busy with other tasks, so he should ask his dad to find 2 good players from the team and help him entertain the client tomorrow. He decides that he is going to do that task and help his boss with the client tomorrow at the game. The next day after planning everything, Kwon calls Lee-gung to his office workplace and tells him that his internship period will end very soon, and whether he can become a regular full-time employee will depend on today's game performance and how well they entertain the client. Lee-gung then asks him if he is nervous about the game, so Kwon tells him that after graduating from middle school years ago, they never played basketball together again, so he does not know when he started to get used to being a spectator off the court instead of a player. After that conversation, they both arrive at the company's rooftop area that looks like a basketball court with hoops and markings, and then they change their clothes into basketball gear to get ready. Lee-gung then grabs the basketball with his hands and shows off his insane and incredible dunk ability by jumping high and slamming the ball through the hoop, and this amazing display catches everyone's attention who is watching the game from the sidelines of the court. Right at that moment, the boss also arrives at the rooftop basketball court where they are playing, and he makes a comment saying that young people these days look really passionate and energetic about playing basketball and the sport in general. The boss then tells Lee-gung directly not to go easy on him or hold back just because he is older in age, and he explains that he knows how to play basketball very well and has plenty of experience playing the game from his younger years. Lee-gung then gets the basketball in his possession and control, and he runs straight towards the basket with incredible speed to try to score a goal for his team and get points. A guy who plays for a different department suddenly steals the ball away from Lee-gung's hands, and then he throws the basketball into the basket successfully for a score for his own team. At the same time, a taxi driver arrives at the company office and asks someone about the exact address of parking garage in the building. He then quickly gets on the elevator and arrives at the rooftop where he finds Little Zhao making a dunk in the basket. Seeing him, Kwon thinks that if he was that height, he could also dunk, and then he tells Lee-gung not to get confused by his age as the old man CEO plays pretty well. The CEO is actually warming up for the match, but everyone just starts encouraging him so that they can get easily promotion. After that, the match begins with two teams, one that contains Lee-gung and Kwon and the other with CEO Waegwa, who tells Lee-gung and Kwon that he will definitely win against the other team, but Kwon asks if he can really jump. The guy replies that he has never lost a jump ball. The match then starts with the taxi driver failing to get the ball to his side from the very start, and the other team easily gets possession of it without any difficulty. Then they quickly start running around the court after passing the ball to each other with speed, and they are so fast and their plays are so tight and coordinated that it even confuses Kwon, who is watching. The other team's guy then jumps up high to score a point for them, but instead of throwing the ball into the basket himself, he just passes it to his boss, who is open. The boss then gets ready to shoot the ball, and once he throws the ball straight towards the basket for a score, Lee-gung jumps out of nowhere suddenly and blocks the shot with his hands. The ball then gets to Kwon, who catches it and quickly runs towards the basket at the other end, and then he throws the ball towards it to attempt a score. Everyone then tries to get the ball and fight for possession, but Waegwa, who manages to get the ball from Lee-gung first before anyone else can. The match then continues and moves forward with the other team passing the ball to their boss player, and seeing that happening, Lee-gung quickly runs towards him to try and defend. However, the boss manages to throw the ball toward the basket despite the defense, but instead of going inside cleanly, the ball rolls around the rim of the basket and it eventually gets in for a score. Kwon then tells Lee-gung that the game is going to be like that and difficult, but Lee-gung goes over to Waegwa, who and asks him weren't he sure that they can win this game easily. Kwon thinks to himself that Waegwa, who can take rebounds out of his hands with skill, but he feels like he has seen him somewhere before in the past. Afterward, we get a flashback memory of Kwon, who is watching a basketball match with his dad at a stadium, and he thinks to himself that the number 21 player is pretty awesome and impressive. He asks his dad if he is planning to bring him to his team as a new recruit, and then another guy also tells him that at the young age of 21 years old, he is very good and has superb shooting abilities on the court. Kwon says with excitement that if he enters his dad's team, they will definitely get the championship for sure and win everything, but his dad thinks differently, that scoring by only physical ability is not impressive at all, because there are a bunch of players that can already do that without much effort. The coach's assistant tells him that his average is 28 points per game, but it does not count as controlling the court properly, and his height and talent is not comparable to the best players. However, Kwon's dad watches the match carefully and thinks to himself that when the opposing player scores continuously without stopping, he proceeds with strong defense and even fouls them to stop their momentum. Back in the present time, Waegwa, who manages to get the ball in his possession, and he quickly passes the ball back to Kwon so he can take a shot. Just as Kwon tries to throw the ball into the basket for a score, another player from the opposing team steals the ball away from him and passes it back to their boss, who is playing. The boss then runs straight towards the basket with determination, while other players from his team start to escort him and provide support on offense. He then throws the ball straight at the basket to score, while Waegwa, who seems to block Lee-gung intentionally, and then Waegwa, who gets the rebound from the boss's shot again. Waegwa, who then passes the ball back to Kwon to advance their offense, but it seems like the ball was missing its target and it went to the boss instead by accident. Out of nowhere, Lee-gung then rushes towards the boss with speed and manages to steal the ball away from him, which surprises everyone watching the game unfold. Igung then runs straight towards the basket on the other end to score, but the guy from the other team just jumps at him aggressively and manages to steal the ball away from his possession. Both of them then falls on the ground, so the boss appreciates the other guy. After the game, the other boss tells Kwon to tell Igung not to get aggressive and let the CEO take the ball. Igung tells Kwon that these old uncles are strong and it feels like they are controlling the game. After that, the match continues and Kwon might have recognized Waegwa, who is someone who used to play when he went to watch a match with his dad. From the first day of being influenced by basketball, Igung's eyes have always been on the greatest players in the world, and they taught him a lot of important stuff about the game, including endurance and hard work. He is determined to be like the professional players he admires, no matter how many difficulties and obstacles he will have to face along the way. Igung never thought that a game could be played like this in such a manipulated way, and then everyone passes the balls to the boss to let him score. The boss then tries his best to shoot the ball into the basket, but it turns out the ball drops and falls short before it even reaches the basket at all. Seeing that embarrassing mistake happen, everyone gets stunned and silent for a moment, but Little Joe says quickly that it is his fault and the boss had a wonderful pass but he could not keep up with it properly. Hearing that excuse being made, all the other employees also say in agreement that it is their fault because the pass from the boss was amazing and perfect. After that play finishes, the game continues with Waegwa who passing the ball to Kwon to advance their offense, but Igung steals the pass before it reaches him. Igung then runs straight towards the other side of the court with the ball, which makes the boss of the company furious and he wants to fire Igung even though he is not from their company at all. The CEO then tries to stop Igung by blocking his path, but he dodges the attempt and the CEO falls on the ground hard. The others then also try to block him from scoring, but Igung quickly dodges them all with his skills and throws the ball into the basket successfully and tells everyone that he will not change his style no matter what happens or who tells him to. The CEO then says while lying on the ground that it is better for him to go off the court and watch everyone else play, as he is just too old to compete with young players like them. In a flashback memory from the past, Igung is seen practicing hard with his old coach who asks him if he really wants to become a professional basketball player, but then Igung falls down from exhaustion. The coach yells at him to pay attention to the height of his jump and other technical details, but Igung is already exhausted and tired and still tells him with determination that he will become a professional player no matter what. Back in the present time, the other team's players pass the ball back to their CEO and say to him that they are depending on him to score and win. Meanwhile, Igung, who is sitting on the sidelines, is furious at everyone who is encouraging the CEO for no reason despite his trash plays and terrible performance on the court. The manager then tells player Lu that the CEO seems to be exhausted and tired, so they need to stop the match before something bad happens to him. Hearing that, the guy starts crying and says that he got a leg cramp because he has not exercised for so long and is out of shape, and then he asks the CEO to come with him to the dressing area to rest. After that incident, a guy asks Kwon where he found a straightforward and honest guy like Igung who does not play games, so Kwon says that he is his good friend and he plays basketball really well. Kwon then tells him proudly that Igung is a captain of Binhai University basketball team, as he took their school team to the championship this year and won the title. Waegwa, who hears everyone talking about Igung and walks up to Igung directly, asking him how the coach Lin has been training him these days and if he is improving his skills. Igung does not reply to him or answer his question at all and just goes back to the ring to shoot a three-pointer shot into the basket successfully to show his skills. Seeing that impressive shot, Waegwa Hu and the other player think to themselves that his physique is really good and impressive, and they themselves miss their college time when they play. Igung then quickly changes the scoreboard to reflect the real score, which makes the others furious and angry, and they try to stop him from doing that. Then after some argument, they decide to hold a 3-on-3 match instead, in which Igung manages to throw the ball into the basket from a mid-range distance, and tells everyone that his goal is to reach the major league and play professionally. We then get a flashback memory of Yongzi, who is the other player that is playing right now in the present, and he shows great performance by flying high by throwing the ball into the basket with style. After the match ends, a guy pays him only 500 yuan, but Yongzi says that they agreed that it would be 1,000 only if he dunked the last score, but he did not make it happen. Yongzi quietly takes the money without arguing and tries to leave the court, but the guy stops him and gives him some extra cash because today's performance was good and it took him a long time to get this opportunity for him, but he smashed it and did well. He then says to Yongzi that he is not young anymore at his age, so it is not possible to keep playing basketball forever, and it would be difficult for him in the future to provide more opportunities like this to make money. Later, Yongzi's mom is worried that he didn't even make it into the district team and he don't have a diploma either. Some days later, Yongzi plays another basketball match in which he struggles badly, so a player named Jiang Huan shows incredibly performance and throws the ball in the basket. The guy then asks Yongzi by calling him an uncle and asks if he is alright and feeling okay after that play. Everyone watching thinks that the only thing that can save Yongzi right now is the Dragon Balls from Shenron to wish him back to his prime. Back in the present time, Yongzi still thinks about the time his mother told him that his uncle found him a job at a power plant, so he can go and try for it and start working. Yongzi then steals the ball away from Igung and tries to run past him with speed, but he does not let him go and calls him uncle mockingly, saying that he cannot get past him at all. Hearing that disrespectful comment, Yongzi thinks about Jianhuan saying the same thing to him before in the past, so he gets furious at being called uncle again. In the flashback memory, Yongzi goes to his window to look outside and find his old friends who also found their jobs, but they are still trying to pursue their dream of becoming basketball stars despite working. However, Yongzi just goes back inside his room and starts crying with sadness, thinking that one day everyone will face reality and no one can keep on flying forever or chasing impossible dreams. Back in the present time, Yongzi gave a nice pass to his teammate who then managed to score a point for the team successfully. In another flashback memory from the past, Yongzi gets approached by the CEO for the first time, who gives him his business card and says that there are many young people like him in their company who play basketball. So, he thinks that it is going to be suitable for him to work there. Some days, Yongzi tells his friend that he can work in the sales business at the company, as their CEO especially likes playing basketball, and as long as he is willing to play with him, they can level up the basketball game together. The others think and say that they are scared they will not do well in such a big company and it will negatively affect him and his position. Hearing that concern from them, Yongzi says that he also graduated from sports academy just like they did, so he thinks that they can also do it and succeed together. Just then at that moment, Yongzi's another friend named Jia arrives at the scene and says that he will not join them as he cannot do anything but play basketball, but Yongzi tells him to make up his mind quickly because as long as they have jobs at the company, he is going to have a job too and they will all support each other. Back in the present time, Yongzi passes the ball to old Jia, who then tries to throw the ball into the basket for a score, but Weigua who pushes him hard and the ball goes to another guy who manages to score a point by throwing the ball into the basket successfully. Quan then apologizes to Igung for not being able to keep up with the pace of the game, but Igung tells Quan to just pass the ball to him whenever possible and he will take care of the rest and score. The match then resumes and continues with Igung running with the ball so fast that it surprises the other team's players with his speed and skill. He then runs past old Jia and the other guy easily with his movements, and just as he tries to jump and throw the ball into the basket, Yongzi appears out of nowhere suddenly and blocks his path completely. Yongzi manages to slap the ball away from Igung's hands, and then everyone on his team tells him that he did a great job with that defensive play. Weigua who then tells Igung that the three of them have played together for so many years on the court, so they know each other very well and understand their playing styles. He then says that he going against three experienced players sounds like a bad battle that he cannot win, so it is better for him to pass the ball more often to his teammates. Igung then tells Quan that he is going to create an opportunity for him to score, because he believes in him and his abilities. The match then continues and moves forward with Igung running with the ball down the court, but the other team's player completely blocks him and stops his movement. Igung then tries to shoot the ball over the defense, but he then gets blocked by Yongzi, so he quickly passes the ball to Quan who manages to throw the ball toward the basket, but it rebounds off the rim and then Weigua who quickly jumps and throws the ball into the basket for a score. After that play finishes, the match continues with Igung trying to run past the other team's players with speed, but they could not let him through and blocked his path tightly. Then suddenly, Weigua who pushes the other player out of the way, which gives Igung a chance to go through the defense, so he quickly runs forward but another player shows up to stop him. Igung then gives a pass to Quan who then throws the ball toward the basket to score, but it just rebounds off the rim and Weigua who manages to get the rebound and catch it. He then quickly passes the ball to Igung instead of throwing it into the basket himself to score. He tells Quan not to be nervous or worried as he is responsible for covering the left side of the court and playing defense, and then Igung says confidently that in this ball possession, they will take the other team down and score a point for sure. The match then continues and Igung quickly passes the ball to Weigua who as soon as he gets blocked by the defense. Weigua who then pushes the opponent player out of the way, and the ball goes to Quan who quickly throws it into the basket and scores a point. Quan then gets excited and happy to see that it was his first point in the game and asks Igung about it enthusiastically, but Igung makes a weird sign with his hands and congratulates him on coming back to the court and playing again. Igung then asks him if he still remember their secret signal, so Igung replies that they practiced it together so many times, it's really difficult to forget it. Seeing that, Weigua who tells Yongzi that it looks like he haven't played ball so seriously in a long time, but he replies that they influenced him. The match then resumes with Yongzi running with the ball towards the basket with determination, and just as he jumps high to throw it in for a score, Weigua who blocks it with his hands successfully. The ball then moves towards another player on the opposite team who tries to catch it, but Quan manages to steal the ball away and passes it back to Igung quickly. He then tries to run forward with the ball, but Yongzi appears in front of him to block his path, so he passes the ball to Weigua instead of forcing a shot. After that pass is made, Weigua throws the ball at the basket and scores the point successfully for their team. Just then, the CEO arrives back at the court and tells Yongzi that they played so wonderfully and impressively, and he wants to be a part of their team as well and play with them. The next day, Quan and Weigua are sitting in the taxi while the female customer is also sitting in the back seat listening to them talk. She is annoyed by the conversation of Kwon and Weigwa and their topics. She thinks that Kwon and Weigwa are in some kind of secret relationship because Kwon is repeatedly touching his muscles and says that he likes older people with experience in life. Kwon and Weigwa then touch each other's hands in a friendly way, which makes her uncomfortable and disturbed, so she quickly asks them to stop the car and leaves without paying. At that moment, Tang calls Kwon on the phone and says that she is coming to meet him right now, so Kwon tells Weigwa that they have to pick up someone from Binhai district area. Later when she arrives, Tang tells Kwon that Igung is not even at his home anymore, and his basketballs are still at home, which means that he is not playing basketball at all right now. They then decide to head to public park to find him, but they can't find Igung there, and instead, they find another crappy looking guy who resembles him. They then notice Gushue doing various stunts and tricks on the court that surprises Tang, so she asks Kwon about him and who he is. Kwon then calls over Gushue and asks him about Igung's whereabouts, but he tells them that he has not been here for days and he does not know where he went. After that conversation, they quickly get back in Weigwa's taxi to find out where Igung is and what he is doing. Kwon says that he might be with a girl somewhere spending time, but Tang replies that there is only one girl he knows and that is her standing right here. Kwon reveals that there is also someone else that Igung knows, and they then pick up Yen Xiao from her place, who is still sleepy and tired. Yen Xiao then notices Tang sitting in the car and says that she must be his girlfriend who came to pick him up that night when they met before. Yen Xiao then takes them to the Tigers area to ask him if he has seen Igung, who won the match last time against them, as last night they were together hanging out. Hearing that information, Tiger starts freaking out and getting upset because he thinks that Igung was with Yen Xiao romantically last night and they were together. Yen Xiao then tells Kwon that they should go back and leave, as she is sure he did not come here to this area at all. After that stop, they spend their entire day looking for him everywhere they can think of, but they could not find him anywhere in the city, so they drop Yen Xiao to her bar workplace and go back to Igung's home. At his house, they could not find Igung there either, so Tang starts crying with worry about where he could be. Meanwhile, Igung and his father are standing outside somewhere and they are waiting in a long line with many other people around them. Igung talks about how there are so many people who already passed the application process and made it this far. His father quickly tells him that he does not need to worry about all the other people who are trying out. Right at that moment, Igung sees someone he recognizes and realizes it is a bench player from the Killer Whale team, and this player is also at the same place because he is here to try out too. Igung's father then pushes him and tells him to go inside the building right now so he can take his training test, and he explains to Igung that he is going to become a professional player one day, and he really believes in him and knows he can do it. While Igung is inside the building and busy doing his training and taking his test, his father is actually doing something completely different because he is talking with a friend of his and they are walking around together through different parts of the city. He tells his friend that Igung is amazing and talented, and he has surpassed college league level a long time ago with his skills. He then decides to head out to the supermarket to buy something for them, while Igung goes through painful training at the facility. The trainer there tells everyone that after turnaround runs are complete and finished, they should change their jerseys as they will start a match soon against another team. Igung's dad then receives a call on his phone from his wife, who is in the US right now, and he asks her about the training camp in the States and how it is going. He then tells her that at most within a year, Igung will be heading over there to join her, and after that she will need to take care of him properly, and he believes that their son will definitely make those foreigners look at him with admiration and respect for his basketball skills. After the call, Igung's dad thinks that last night he had a dream, and in that dream, he saw that Igung won against an NBA player. While he is walking on the street, he gets into an accident with a vehicle and Igung quickly gets the call about it from someone who witnessed it. Later that night after the incident, Igung finds out that there are several missed calls from Tang on his phone that he did not answer, but then he receives a call from his mother from overseas. He tells her that his friends take good care of him here and he does not want to come to the US to live with her, but rather he wants to become a professional basketball player here in his home country. Igung then gets back home after the call, where Tang quickly hugs him tightly with relief and happiness that he is safe. The next day, Tang goes to her boss' room to deliver a performance report, but the boss starts touching her hand and gets freaky. The boss then asks her out for dinner tonight, but she rejects his offer and tells him to find someone else. Tang then leaves the office to find out that boss has decided not to give her a full-time position, so she decides to tell Igung about it, but she doesn't. Igung then calls her and asks her out on a dinner tonight, so Tang happily tells him to send her the location. Later that night, Tang goes to the location that Igung told her about, thinking that it is going to be some kind of grand dinner date between these two of them, but it turns out Kwon is also present there as a third wheeler at the table. Kwon then tells Igung happily that it has been a while since they ate together like this, and the four of them must go home drunk today to celebrate properly. Hearing that statement, Tang wonders who the fourth person at this dinner is, and when she turns around to look, the person turns out to be Yen Xiao sitting down with them. After that surprise, they all sit together to celebrate and eat food, but Tang asks Igung if he is not going to school anymore, as now he is participating in this competition instead of studying. Kwon tells her confidently that Igung is going to win the competition, and according to his database and research, Yan Xiao can be ranked at least in the top 10 of the point guards in the entire Binhai region. Then, Kwon and Igung enjoys themselves, which makes Tang jealous, and she decides to leave first. However, Tang decides not to leave the room and sits with them, and she says that they did not even tell her about this competition until today, which is really too much and unfair to her. Tang then asks them why she cannot play on the team, but Yan Xiaocan, who is also a girl just like her, so Igung tells her that Yan Xiao knows how to play basketball well. Tang then tells them that she can be the manager of the team instead, as they need a team leader to participate in the competition according to the rules. She even says that she will handle everything, including handling Weigua, who refused to join their team and convinced him to play with them. Later that night, after everyone leaves, Igung and Tang are alone at his house, where Igung is just wearing shorts and relaxing. He tells her that his mother called him a few days ago on the phone and said she wants him to go to the States to be with her. Hearing that news, Tang confesses to him that she really likes him and has feelings for him, but it turns out Igung does not listen because he already falls asleep on the couch. The next day, Igung comes back home after finishing his training session, and he finds out that Tang is at his place and she is cooking breakfast for him in the kitchen. Tang tells Igung that from this point forward, she is going to be responsible for making his daily meals and taking care of his food. However, right after she says this, Kwon also shows up at the house and he starts begging Tang to please give him some breakfast too because he is extremely hungry and starving. After listening to Kwon's request, Tang decides to serve breakfast to both of them and she gives them their food. While they are eating, Tang explains to them that the game is coming up very soon, so they need to work on making Weigua agree to join their team as quickly as possible. She also talks about how she already collected all of the important information and data about Weigua, and she explains to them that his current age is 42 years old and he has a background as a professional team player who used to play in the 2nd Division League when he was part of the Binhai team. Moreover, due to injuries he suffered in the past, he became a taxi driver to make a living, and she thinks that as a player who played in professional games before, his experience and skills are exactly what they need for their team. Kwon then asks Igung if he remembers Yang Lei and his team that they met at the event, because he has done an in-depth investigation and research on them. He explains that the first guy from that team is Martin, who has been leading that team to win the championship in the Central Division of the College League for 3 consecutive years in a row. However, he thinks that Weigua is a suitable opponent for Martin on the court, and they are 2 destined opponents who are evenly matched in skills and abilities to compete against each other. Kwon also says that Martina and his team will be the biggest obstacle on their road to winning the championship title, so they have no chance of winning without Weigua joining their team. Igung then tells them that he met someone in People's Park who is really good at basketball, but they need to pay him 500 yuan to recruit him to join their team. The guy turns out to be Zhong from before, so Tang calculates the payment for the entire week, including renting Weigua's car and taxi to pay Zhong for playing, which leads the total payment to 30,000 yen in expenses. The next day, Igung's team and Zhong's team arrives at the competition venue, where Igung and Zhong fights over a pair of shoes. The staff then gets them extra shoes and shows them the factory's training area. The staff explains that the Maker factory manufacturer was established in 2016, and this testing center uses the most advanced high-tech technology in the world. He even adds that their smallest movements will be captured by these cameras. Suddenly, the ground underneath them starts shining, so the staff says that this is their real-time physical data analyzed by their AI based on its observations just now. Suddenly, a LED virtual basketball court shows up in front of them, and the staff members tell them that this test floor is worth $30 million and it can provide product testing for more than a dozen kinds of balls and equipment. The test then begins with Igung and Zhong running after a red line on the court, so Kwon asks the staff member about what it represents and means. He explains that the red line is Derrick Rose's physical test results from when he was tested, which shocks Kwon completely. The test is then over after a few minutes, and Kwon is surprised to see that Zhong is actually faster than Igung in the sprint test. After that first test, various kinds of tests are being held for them, but Igung and Zhong are once again competing with each other to see who performs better. Kwon tells them not to trample on the floor and be careful with the shoes they are wearing, as they have to pay for them if they are broken or damaged. After some time passes, the results finally come out and everyone can see that Zhong's statistics and numbers are all much better than Igung's results in every category. The staff members tell Zhong that they want him to help them test out the cushioning ability of the shoes they are promoting, and they ask him to do this with just one single dunk. Zhong then decides to show off his amazing and insane jumping ability, and he leaps up high into the air and throws the ball down into the basket, and this action surprises everyone who is watching him do it. After Zhong finishes his turn, Igung gets the basketball and he jumps up even higher than Zhong just did, and he throws the ball down into the basket, and this surprises everyone in the room because they are all seeing someone perform at this level and do something like this. Following their performances, the staff members make a decision to pay them only 15,000 in total, and this amount of money makes Zhong extremely furious and angry about the situation. He then starts arguing with the staff members for quite a while and tries to get them to pay more, but Igung tells him that he has the ability to pay for things himself, so Tang quickly stops Igung from saying more. Right at that moment, Director Chiu shows up and arrives at the location, and he tells all of them that they should play basketball together. Director Chiu then gets furious at the staff members for not handling the situation well and says that this is not how they handle a test properly in their facility. She then asks where Shuahai Lin is the coach, so Quan says that he is his dad and he has something important going on, so he is not here today to watch. Hearing that statement, Director Chiu does not believe that he is the son of Lin at all, because he is just too wide and overweight to be his son. Director Chiu then checks the stats of both teams on her tablet and thinks that it is good enough, and she tells them to do actual combat test projects next week for their products. Tang then tells Director Chiu that they have a condition for this game, like if their team wins she wants Zhong to join them for the hood competition tournament. Director Chiu says that there is no way they are going to win with those crappy stats and performance, so she should just give up on that idea, but Igung calls her by the name Old Auntie and says that they cannot know for sure before playing on the court and competing. Igung then asks Director Chiu if she knows how to play basketball that shocks everyone in the room. Director Chiu tells him that if he wins then he can take any equipment from here, but if he loses, he won't take anything from here. After that testing session, the match between both teams begins with Zhong in the offense position and Igung trying to defend against him aggressively. He then quickly passes the ball to his female teammate who is struggling against Yan Xiao's defense, but she just pushes Yan Xiao aside and throws the ball into the basket for a score. Quan then says that it is a foul and should be called, but the staff tells him the camera will decide if it is a foul or not based on the replay. Yan Xiao then tells Quan that instead of calling for a foul all the time, he should pass her a few balls like how they do during training sessions together. The match then continues with Xiao having the ball in her possession, and she tries to run past the other girl with speed, but she just does not let Xiao get past her at all. Yan Xiao then passes the ball to Quan who runs forward with it, but he also gets blocked by the defense. He then looks around to find that Igung is also blocked tightly by Zhong and cannot get open. Quan then quickly passes the ball to Yan Xiao who then runs straight towards the basket with determination and throws the ball inside successfully, scoring another point for their team. Xiao then tells the girl defending her that with her weak defense, she might score 40 points as well by the end of the game. Everyone then starts cheering loudly for Yan Xiao and her performance, but Director Chiu says that they will still lose eventually, and she tells Tang that if they continue to play like this, they cannot last a few more rounds before running out of energy. The match then continues and moves forward with Zhong passing the ball to his teammate who easily throws the ball into the basket without much effort. Seeing that easy score, Director Chiu says that their offense is very relaxed and efficient, which is completely different from Tang's team who struggles every possession. After that play, Xiao and the other girl are struggling with each other for position, and Director Chiu tells Tang that the other girl knows how to use her height advantage to do close defense, so that her opponent cannot increase their speed or get past her. Xiao then passes the ball to Quan who then runs forward with it, and he passes the ball back to Xiao to continue the play. She then quickly runs past the girl defender while Quan seems to hold her back with his body, and then Xiao easily throws the ball into the basket with amazing teamwork and coordination between them. Tang then tells Director Chiu that she knows Igung was rude to her earlier, but they are not weak as she thinks they are, and they might actually win this game. Tang tells her that even though the other team's player is faster than Yan Xiao in a straight sprint, Yan Xiao is faster than her with the ball in her hands. Director Chiu then asks her if she knows the difference between those two types of speed and what it means. She explains to them that so far Tang's team has only relied on the girl Yan Xiao to score all the points, and in order to make up for her short height disadvantage, she runs every single round to get rid of the opponent defender, meanwhile finding a chance to score for the team successfully. Director Chiu says that not only does the other team have more players who can score points, but they also score much easier than Tang's team does, which means that in each round, her team has to use more physical energy than them on offense to get points. After that explanation, Yan Xiao manages to score another point for the team successfully, but the other girl tells her mockingly that she was lucky to score again but she will not be lucky again next time. The girl then manages to push Yan Xiao aside and tries to score a point, but Igung blocks it with his hands, so the ball goes back to another player on the court. The guy then tries to shoot the basketball but Igung jumps up even higher into the air than anyone expects and he blocks the shot completely, and this action surprises everyone who is watching the game happen. Director Chiu then turns to Tang and asks her why Igung did not go to join the professional team earlier, because she thinks that with his natural physique and athletic abilities, Ling should have already recommended him to the professional team a long time ago, but Tang explains to her that Igung had something serious happen to his family in the past, so he was feeling depressed and going through a difficult time for quite a while. Tang continues talking and says that she has watched him play basketball for 4 whole years now and she believes in him more than anyone else does. She mentions that most people thought he was the main problem with the team, but she truly knows him as a person and understands that he has his own unique way of playing and doing things. After this conversation, Yi-gung and Kwon both manage to shoot the basketball into the basket successfully with their amazing shots and incredible skills, and with that final play the first half of the game finally comes to an end. Director Chio then walks onto the basketball court and she calls for an official timeout for the blue team so they can discuss strategy. Jung then tells Chio that there is no need for a timeout at this moment, as it is just 1 point behind and he can catch up with it easily. Chio tells them that she thought they would now be at least 10 points ahead with their stats and advantages over the other team, but their stats turn out to be useless on the court. She then tells them firmly that they have to play as she says from now on and follow her instructions, and then the timeout is up with both teams returning to the court to continue. The other team's player then passes the ball to Jung to start their offense, but Xiao hits the ball away and it gets to Kwon, who catches it. The other team's girl then comes to block Kwon from advancing forward. Earlier during the timeout, Chio told the girl that she should not compete with her opponent's strengths with her own weaknesses, and she should use her strengths as much as possible to do the most efficient offense and defense on the court. The match then continues with Yi-gung getting the ball and he gets double-teamed by Jung and the other guy. Yi-gung tries to dodge them and runs towards the basket, but then, he passed the ball back to Xiao, who then tries to shoot the ball in basket, but the other guy blocks the shot. After that, a flashback shows in which Yi-gung and Kwon arrive at the venue location where their important game is scheduled to happen tomorrow, but Kwon tells Yi-gung that they need to get familiar with the venue first before the actual game takes place. Kwon starts explaining to him that this upcoming game might be the very last time he ever gets to play a basketball game together with Yi-gung, and he goes on to explain the reason why by saying that he made a serious military order agreement with his father that states if they cannot win the championship trophy this time around, he will have to completely give up playing basketball forever and instead focus all of his attention on his studies and schoolwork. He continues telling Yi-gung more information and mentions that he went to get a bone age test done at a medical facility a while ago, and the doctor who examined him said that based on his bone age results, he can only grow up to a maximum height of 1.77 meters tall, and he adds that if they end up losing this time, Yi-gung will have to continue playing basketball for both of them in the future. Yi-gung then responds to Kwon by telling him that they should not be talking about losing right now at this moment, and regarding the topic about being short in height, Yi-gung points out that he himself is actually even shorter than Kwon is. When the story returns back to the present time, Director Chio makes a statement saying that Yi-gung is not qualified enough to play at a professional level yet because he passed the basketball to someone he should not have passed it to during the game. She adds that once a teammate responds, they can change the defense to adjust the line of defense, and she simply let the blue team use some of the most basic defensive strategies of a professional team. Moreover, Chio says that he can't even make an accurate judgment with such a simple double teaming, and if only he can look at the form on the field, he will find that Kwon is already standing in the best offensive position. The match then continues with Yi-gung passing the ball to Yen Xiao, but she couldn't catch the ball, so Chio says that her energy can't keep up now and this kind of lob pass to the basket is impossible. After that, Jung scores another 3-point ball, and then the match continues with Jung's teammate scoring another point, and with that Yi-gung's team are far behind them. Chio then tells Tang that if she were her, she would call for a timeout for them to rest, and then Tang decides to call out for timeout. Chio tells Tang to tell Yi-gung that if he wants to win then he should play it as he's the only one playing on the court. Afterward, it is breaking time and Tang tells Xiao to relax her breathing before she drinks water, as she has been running since the game started without stopping. Xiao thinks to herself that she has been running for a while now, which is totally different from playing at the Eshiton court where games are shorter. Kwon then tells her that she does not have to worry at all, as he will use all the tricks he has learned to make them win this game. After that break time, the time is up and both teams return to the court to continue playing. Tang then tells Yi-gung that she thinks that Chio is trying to help them, although she really does not understand what she meant by her instructions, but Yi-gung replies that she must be right about her strategy. But then Kwon arrives and tells Yi-gung to give him a high five and says that they are going to win this game together, but he just smacks his hand away and says that he will win the game himself. The game then starts with Kwon serving from the baseline, and he quickly passes the ball to Yi-gung to begin their offense. After that pass is made, Yi-gung runs through everyone else on the court with the ball in his hands, and Chio thinks to herself that Yi-gung is still playing like before, which means that he clearly did not understand what she said at all during the timeout. After that run, Yi-gung passes the ball to Kwon, who then misses the pass completely, and the ball falls on the ground and bounces away, and the other team's girl quickly catches it and takes possession. Afterward, we get a flashback memory of the time when Yi-gung first transferred to Kwon's school, and when Kwon heard that he is interested in basketball, he freaks out with excitement. The teacher realizes that Kwon is very enthusiastic towards his new classmate and friendly, so he should just sit with him in the classroom. Later that day after school, Kwon tells Yi-gung that only he gets to wear the number 8 jersey of Binhai High, which means he is the strongest player, but Yi-gung decides to challenge him in basketball to prove himself. Kwon tells him to serve as the first one to start the game, as he never bullies someone who is shorter than him or at a disadvantage. Everyone else watching thinks that Kwon looks so cool and impressive, so they wonder when they are going to be manly and skilled like him. It turns out, Kwon loses the basketball match against Lee-gung in their competition, and after losing he decides to give Lee-gung his number 8 jersey as a gift, and he tells Lee-gung that he is going to keep challenging him over and over again until he finally wins a game against him one day. And Lee-gung even responds back to Kwon by telling him that he will definitely lose if he were to be the one serving the first ball in their next match. Starting from the very next day after their game, Lee-gung and Kwon begin playing basketball together on a regular basis, and they spend a lot of their free time together training hard to improve their skills and also hanging out together as close friends. During one of their practice sessions, Lee-gung even takes the initiative to make a strategic plan, and he says to Kwon that they should focus on doing more passes to each other during games, and he explains that it is much easier for them to be blocked by defenders if they just rush into the paint area like they have been doing without having any real strategy or plan. But Kwon responds to this suggestion by saying that Lee-gung should position himself and go to the weak side of the basketball court instead, and Kwon promises that he will pass the basketball to Lee-gung when he is in that position. Then after discussing, they start training professionally for their upcoming tournament and working on their skills. Kwon then asks Lee-gung about what school he wants to go to in the future, so he tells him that he wants to go to Binhai High, which has the best basketball team in the entire province. Lee-gung explains that he has calculated everything and everyone, and he will work hard and get into Binhai High, and then he will get to the basketball team using his ability and talent to impress them. Later that night, Kwon tells his dad that their school team has made it into the middle school league competition, and this year would be their last chance to win, so he wants him to teach him some tactics and strategies. Hearing that request, Coach Lin asks him if he forgets that he has the high school entrance examination coming up, and now he is playing basketball again instead of studying. Kwon then tells his dad that they can get extra 30 points for the examination if they win the City League Championship, and he wants to enroll in the special admissions of Binhai High School for sports students. Kwon's dad tells him that if he really wants to enter into Binhai High, he should play less basketball and study hard to enter with the examination scores, because as a sports student it is not suitable for him with his body. Kwon replies that he knows he does not have the best physique for basketball at all, but the opportunity for him to enroll as a sports student is small, and the teachers of Binhai will go to the City League finals every year to scout for talented players. Kwon's father then says that he is also a coach himself, so he asks if Kwon does not know if he is suitable for basketball at all, so he tells Kwon that with his physique he cannot go professional at all in the future. Hearing those harsh words, Kwon decides to leave the room, but asks his dad what if he wins the championship. Then his dad says that he would be wrong as a basketball coach if that happens. He then says that if Kwon loses then he will study hard and give up the unrealistic idea of playing professional basketball forever. After Kwon leaves the room upset, his mom tells the dad that he has no idea how hard Kwon has been training lately, as he has been waking up at 4 in the morning to practice his basketball skills. Some days later, it's the semifinals of Binhai High, and Kwon's dad is also present to watch his performance. After that, the match officially begins and Kwon shows amazing performance in the match, and with Kwon's last shot, Binhai Mid broke into the final of the City Middle School League for the first time. Seeing that, Coach Lin resigns from his position and says that he is going to the university to coach. After that preparation, in the finals game Kwon is not performing well at all, as he only scored 1 shot out of 9 attempts that he took, scoring only 2 points total. Lee-gung then manages to block the other team's shot successfully and passes it back to Kwon, and Kwon manages to make a breakthrough with the ball and advance forward. Now only the last 8 seconds are left in the game, but the other team's player hits Kwon hard, which gets the other player a foul called on him. Now at this critical moment, Kwon gets a free throw opportunity, and as long as he can score these 2 free throws, he can win the game, and this is his first step in professional basketball career. It turns out that Kwon missed the last shot badly, which led to him losing the game to the entire team. Everyone thinks that he is just too young to play right now, and because of him and his missing shot, everyone had to lose the championship. Kwon then asks Lee-gung in the locker room afterward, why did he not pass him a single ball in the second half of the game, but Lee-gung replies that he thought he was under too much pressure already. Hearing that, Kwon loses his mind and yells at Lee-gung, saying that game is not his alone, and he says that he has no choice now. He then blames Lee-gung for it and says that he is just selfish, but Lee-gung replies that even if they can't get into Binhai High's special admissions, they can still go to other high schools. The next day, Lee-gung trains all by himself alone on the school basketball court, but Kwon does not show up to join him for practice, and Kwon even spends all of his time studying hard in his room like he promised his father he would do. Many days go by one after another, and during all this time, Kwon spends every single moment of his free time studying like a complete geek in order to achieve his parents' dream and make them proud of him. At the same time, Lee-gung just continues to train as hard as physically possible every single day to become the absolute best basketball player alive in the world. Some days later, after this period of time passes, the teacher makes an announcement in their classroom that Lee-gung has successfully passed the special recruitment program of the Binhai University affiliated high school for sports during the tryouts that happened last week. 3 whole years pass by and eventually Kwon finally manages to join Binhai High School because of his excellent performance on his entrance examination scores, and on that particular day when he arrives at the school, he accidentally runs into Lee Gung, who now looks much taller than before while Kwon himself has gotten noticeably fatter over the years. Kwon tells Lee Gung that he did not expect to meet him here at this school, and he comments that Lee Gung must have been specially recruited into this place while Kwon himself came here because of his good grades on the test. Back in the present, Waegwa is looking for Director Chio because the two of them were so close back then that everyone thought they were in a romantic relationship together. Waegwa's friend tells him that she is the technical director of the Maker Factory now, and she even drives a Maserati luxury car to show her success. Waegwa then goes to the test site to find out that Kwon and Lee Gung are actually having a match against another team, but then Kwon falls on the ground miserably and in pain. Waegwa says that Kwon has not been training for so long, so he will definitely get cramps in his leg if he keeps playing such an intense game without rest. Tang then says that they should not play anymore today, as his legs are more important than winning this game. Kwon replies that winning the game and getting 15,000 yuan is more important to them right now, because if they lose the match, the money will go to the other team instead of them. Hearing that statement, Waegwa thinks that they are actually gambling with the game and betting money on it, but Lee Gung tells him that they are going to participate in the competition tournament, and they are still short of one player to complete their roster. Waegwa then tells them that he is here to look for his senior player, as they used to train in the provincial team together years ago, and she is 1 year older than him in age. Kwon suddenly realizes that it is Chio who actually entered and became part of the national basketball team in the past, and she was a very famous shooting guard player in the national team back in her playing days, and not only did she play extremely well on the court during games, but she also had first-class tactical awareness and basketball intelligence that made her stand out. Waegwa then tells all of them that their team does not have the advantages on either stamina or physical fitness compared to their opponents, so it is going to be very hard to win the current game they are playing right now. He then continues talking and says that if they truly want to win this game, then the points difference between the two teams must be controlled and kept within 10 points or less by the end of the first half of the game. After this strategic discussion ends, the basketball match resumes and play continues on the court, and Waegwa approaches Chio to try to defend her, but she just punches him in his stomach area, and she asks him in a mocking way when was the last time he actually exercised his body. On the other hand, Lee Gung quickly moves around the court with great speed and agility, and he then manages to throw the basketball into the basket successfully after dodging and getting past everyone who tried to guard him. How long do you think it will take for Lee Gung and his newfound streetball family to win the championship and prove everyone wrong? Comment, Hood, if you'd like a part 2 of this series. As usual, thank you for tuning in and we'll catch you in the next one.